Let me set up my end.
Oh wait, you're not ready. Okay. He said bye. That was the perfect
He was
transition.
singing
along.
Hit the music and we're ready to go.
All right,
Chris, you
now
can
bye,
see
bye, bye.
what a well-oiled machine we are here.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I love it.
Yeah. It's been fun though.
Pre-caffeine. Sorry.
Only my first glass. Only my first pint of caffeine, which barely counts, really. All right.
Well, I
You
guess
boys
I
have
can
fun.
kind of
I can't wait.
kind of transition into telling Chris like how this started. So usually, I don't know if Delp told you about it, but VGM Wednesday is just like a weekly post that Ian started regarding just sharing, usually a specific topic regarding video game music. And then Delp had the idea. It's like, hey, we need content. Why don't you guys record a live version of it where he also makes a live Photoshop and we basically just talk about music the whole time. And now it's turned into this. So we're still kind of, this is a month later, Ian. I think this is technically show 4. So, we're still learning. We're still ironing out the kinks.
Hey, yeah, no worries. I'm happy to join. I follow all the free play stuff, so I see your guys' posts since you've been doing them actually.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's all Ian, man. He's the Photoshop wizard. I'm just the guy that knows way too much about video game music.
You'll probably put me to shame on that front, actually.
I don't know, man. It's really cool just to see other people like that have the interest because it's a super underrated medium. I feel like.
Oh yeah, definitely, completely agree.
Plus, that's like very nostalgic. I don't know what it is. It's about the music. Besides even just playing the game, if you hear the song, it's like kind of powerful enough to remember playing the game without having to play the game or seeing anything. So I'm a fan of like other senses, bringing back other senses.
Yeah, it's always a reminder, or a reminder of a good feeling. Like if you hear a song you heard as a kid, it's the same thing with a video game, music or sound effects.
If Jerry's not such. My
So yeah, I
machine
know
is being
Jerry
sluggish as well.
he was letting a plumber in, and then I know Josh was in the middle of something too, so they should be joining us momentarily. I think we'll get the music figured out too, because usually we'll have a playlist every week, a theme. This week's theme is shoot 'em ups and bullet hells, and we'll kind of transition into your gig, Chris, whenever Ian gives the go.
Actually, I might as well just start off with good morning, or good afternoon, and good VGM Wednesday.
Yeah, is that the official start?
Yeah.
I guess that's the official start now, right?
Official start, yeah. And then I guess I should ask you guys what you think of a bullet hell. Like, what's a bullet hell or a shrimp to you?
Yeah, I'm interested to hear your answer to this, Chris, because I know shmup is kind of a loose term. So
Yeah, shmup.
Yeah, I think shmup is more of the general, like generic encapsulating term, where I think a bullet hell is certainly a subgenre, right? And most modern shoot 'em ups are, I think, leaning towards that. That seems to be the prevailing kind of approach for many modern shooters now, which is essentially just for those for people who aren't familiar, kind of just the curtains of bullets. That the game is just as much about dodging as it is about shooting.
Right. Yeah, I think that's also a pretty interesting distinction. It's like, yeah, the bullet hell subgenre, or even the shmup genre. It's like, yeah, you're shooting a lot, right? But like a lot of the times, it's more about survivability than anything else, and dodging patterns and crazy attacks and stuff like that.
Remembering patterns is like a huge thing too.
Yeah, to be honest, like I know me growing up, like I never played too many shmups, but it was always like one of my I always enjoyed watching them or watching somebody play them because they kind of went hand in hand with that golden era of like arcade fighting games. So they were always like in the arcade. You'd always see them being played. But my experience with them is usually like the typical like the Gradius, Thunder Force, those type of games.
My first game was definitely Life Force, or I guess Salamander.
Salamander, yeah.
Yeah. Which is why I have that one song stuck in my head. Let's see. I have two computers. Let me.
So I guess I'll just kind of, introduce you, Chris. This is Chris Cruz, part of the Sky Cursor team, and you guys, Griffin Aerotech is the development studio, right? Just kind of give us a background on the team and what you do there.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Yeah, so Griffin Aerotech is the team, and there's 3 of us. Myself, Chris Cruz. I handle the art direction and essentially the game direction as well for our game. And then we have a gentleman named Phil Golobish who is acting as the producer on the team, and he's also largely responsible for the hardware. Since we are an arcade development team, we work. There's a big hardware component to that as well. And then Brad Smith is our technical director, so he is responsible for all the actual development of the games themselves. So team, and our first game, as Chris mentioned earlier, was Sky Cursor. And that's still an arcade exclusive game. We've got about 100 or so of them, a little bit over 100 out in the wild, although many of them are in private collections now. But it's a horizontally scrolling shoot 'em up, and I would definitely say it is not a bullet hell. It's sort of the opposite of a bullet hell in a lot of ways. I can talk more about that later. But yeah, so and then from there we were contacted by Devolver Digital. It's a pretty great publishing house.
Yeah, those guys are great.
Yeah, and we are working on the arcade version of their most successful IP, which is Enter the Gungeon. And we're doing.
Oh, you guys got that. That's right. Awesome.
Yeah, pretty exciting. We're doing the light gun shooter for Enter the Gungeon, which is called House of the Gundead. So it's a completely original game based on that IP. So we're really excited. It's just a passion project, started out, but it's starting to blossom into something quite a bit larger now.
Awesome. So I guess going into that, like I said, it's obviously a small team, indie team. Making a game is a challenge anytime, right? So with a small team like that, and then you also decide to, we're going to make an arcade game based on a golden age genre, basically. What was kind of the thought process? Was instead of saying, I don't know, let's just release a quick thing on Steam or something like that, what made you guys decide to really want to put this in arcade?
And it's weird. It was almost never even a question. I know that sounds crazy. Like, as soon as we started together, I grew up in the arcade around the era of like the kind of late 80s, early 90s was kind of like my heyday when I played the most. So, pre one-on-one fighters all the way through to like Third Strike is like one of my favorite games of all time.
Nice.
But Double Dragon is one of the first games I vividly remember like being kind of awestruck by, just the graphics and the sound and kind of the whole feel of it. So it was like, if we're gonna make a game, it has to be arcade. It was just this dawn on our team that we were just like, that's what we wanted to do. And so what we ended up doing was making it. Sky Cursor is actually JAMA compatible, and JAMA is a very popular standard that came around the late 80s.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you could theoretically run Sky Cursor in any cabinet that has the JAMA compatibility, the JAMA harness. So that was one of the ways that we were able to kind of get out into mini arcades. So, like, for example, Free Play has what they purchased, the JAMA kit, which allowed them to take, a Dynamo cabinet, kind of a blank cabinet, and completely feature it for Sky Cursor. So that's the side art and obviously the hardware to run it. But it's just a weird thing. Like, it was almost never even a question that we were like, let's do this arcade thing, because we just felt like it was such an incredibly underserved community right now, especially with the rise of places like Free Play, that are really successful. We just thought, wow, how cool would it be to be able to contribute to that kind of the rebirth of arcades in a way that's, by creating new content.
Yeah, and just looking at the game, it's clearly like a love letter to that era of games, like the art style, the gameplay, everything like that. It just screams like that was really a passion project for you.
The jet itself just reminds me of like the 80s.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like our one of our rules for the game as we were developing it is just like it has to be dumb. Like, everything has to be like something a 13-year-old would come up with and draw, like on his Trapper Keeper, So like you've got the jet, which is sort of it looks a little bit like a standard kind of F-15 Hornet type design, but then it has a katana strapped to it. So you use the katana.
Of course.
Yeah, right. Because why not? Because you use the katana to deflect bullets and also kind of create a little bit of like almost like a force field around yourself temporarily. And then it's got the Vulcan, sort of the traditional minigun type, but then it also has a shotgun, which is something a little bit strange too for a shoot 'em up, that you've got this like actual giant shotgun strapped to the ship. But it's funny because it was like whenever we were designing a boss or an enemy, it was always like, oh, we're overthinking this. We need to like go back and like, what's the dumbest thing possible, right? So yeah, like just like like intentionally sort of pure in that sense. And yeah, I'm still really proud of especially a lot of the boss designs for the game. They almost feel like reject Ninja Turtle toy designs. And I say that with a little bit of pride, right? That they've just got that spirit of like the stuff I grew up on, which is that again like late '80s, early '90s sort of aesthetic.
Well, that art style is really like I said, it's an homage, but it's also really unique. It fits. It looks like as it's in motion and just kind of that era you're just.
Yeah, definitely, and like I one of the things I think a lot about is. Around that time that that I was going to the arcades, it was sort of like, in my opinion, peak pixel art quality. So you had Capcom doing just unbelievable things with pixel art with their fighters, but then you had companies like Nazca through SNK that did the Metal Slug series, right? Mm-hmm. That just like pushed animation in pixel art to just, I don't really think. There's certainly been some incredible things that have happened since then in pixel art, but in terms of just that, honestly, a lot of it probably boiled down to budget. That they were actually investing significant dollars into the art, too. But just like to me, when I think about just the pinnacle of pixel art, it's that era, and not to say that we got even close with what we did with Sky Cursor, but that was certainly the driving force, is to kind of make it like almost that the same spirit of like if the Metal Slug team had made a shoot 'em up.
Yeah, and I think speaking of Metal Slug and the shotgun and Sky Cursor, like it reminds me a lot about that, just that up close gigantic blast like that. So that was always my favorite gun to use in those.
See, would you guys consider Metal Slug a shump? Because that was one of the bigger things when we were picking out songs for this week. What is like a shump to you?
It's more of a run-and gun, in my opinion. They're kind of like, the same idea, right? You shoot a bunch, but it's a different kind of just control scheme. That's what I've always thought. I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I think run and gun is a good descriptor for that. One thing you'll probably find talking to me about this is like, I don't get as wrapped up into like what are the specific subgenres. Just because I some of my favorite games merge and blend, right? Like they cross across like multiple genres, and so all that is to say is like a lot of people saw Sky Cursor and assumed, like for example, that it was a bullet hell type shooter, and as I kind of described earlier, it's sort of the opposite of that. Like you're really almost like the enemies are the bullets, and the way the game actually plays is almost like a beat 'em up in the sky. Yeah. Like a lot of close range attacks, and like you're sort of carving your way through large swaths of enemies, as opposed to like really meticulous dodging. I have a ton of respect for those games, but you look at companies like Cave, for example, and they've almost perfected that in such a way that it's like I don't know if we would add much to that, right? Whereas with Sky Cursor, we were kind of trying to take the aesthetics of like again, like a Metal Slug type game, with sort of the core being able to move independently and freely like you can in a shoot 'em up, but then combining that with like almost like the just direct, close melee type action that you would have in almost like a beat 'em up type game. So it's sort of its own thing. But yeah, I think I certainly understand the need to have like subgenres and stuff, but I just try not to get like, even when we're designing games, like too wrapped up into what a subgenre is supposed to have or do. But like
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The limit is more for us for when we're picking songs and stuff. 'Cause
Yeah.
otherwise, I would
Yeah.
Contra in here, Metal Slug. Yeah, maybe the genre should have just been, or the theme for this week should have just been bullets, because all these games so far have bullets. Well, maybe not all of them. So maybe we'll get to some that.
Yeah. Yes.
I currently have Sky Cursor in the background playing right now. It's like a long playthrough. I gotta ask, whose dog is that? Because I know that's somebody's dog. It has to be somebody's dog.
Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's my dog. He's actually still with us.
Yes.
His name's Sammy.
Nice.
So Sammy is your co-pilot, and he kind of gives you advice and he talks to you, and it's funny because it was like there's kind of this whole behind the scenes kind of mythos to Sky Cursor that really isn't totally exposed in the game content, but it was always like this driving factor. And it's like, I'm like a big dog person, and I just feel like they're like too good for this world. Like dogs are just so loyal and so awesome. So like Sammy's there to sort of like guide you along the way, but also like encourage you. Like if you do something cool, he'll tell you, like, oh, that was awesome. Like it's just there to motivate you. But the idea is that even when you finish Sky Cursor, humanity's ultimately kind of doomed, but the dogs will live on because of you.
Oh, the good ending. The good ending, yeah.
So that's the good ending, right? Yeah.
For the goodest boys. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's awesome.
I knew that had to be someone's dog, and I'm glad that he was in there with sunglasses and headphones.
Looking rad.
Yeah, for sure.
So you mentioned you guys have, you sell it to multiple places. I saw on the website you guys, obviously Free Play Richardson's a spot. I saw Mikado Game Center in Japan, that legendary arcade, Coin Op Legacy in France, and also our friend Arshad, that archvillain, he runs tournaments up at Logan Arcade in Chicago. So shout outs to him. I know he's played before. So you guys pretty much ship all over the world, right?
Yeah, that was one of the benefits of doing the JAMA kit, not to get too in the weeds on the kind of inside baseball stuff, but like, obviously, it's a lot easier to ship a kit to Japan than it is to ship a full dedicated machine.
Right.
So that was definitely one of the highlights was getting in Mikado, right? Because they have their own stream that they do, and it gets like an unbelievable amount of people watching the game.
It's one of the most legendary arcades in the world. So
yeah, it was. That's like there's certain things that that you kind of hang your hat on, that just super proud of at the end of the day. And that was definitely one of them. And they have a show they do as well, where they just kind of talk about arcade news. And they gave us like this really, I have a friend who, she speaks Japanese, and she kind of translated what they were saying for me, because there's no translation, right? And they were just really, really had so many kind things to say about the game. And it was one of those things where it's like, oh my gosh, wow. Like if we could, like bottle that feeling, it was really, really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, no, I've seen pictures of it like running on like an Astro City. Like you said, it's kind of because of that JAMA connection, so you can pretty much throw it in whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, for sure. And that list that we have on the website, unfortunately, is like, those are only the ones that like we try to keep a running list going, but once it kind of got, like out into the wild, it was hard for us to keep track.
Sure.
And then there's a lot of secondhand sales and things like that. So yeah, it was a little hard to keep track of all the locations, but we try, it's one of those, we kind of see those on the website, like really, really cool places you could go to play the game.
Yeah, that list is pretty legendary just for like Free Play and Mikado alone right there. So yeah, you can, like you said, you can hang your hat on that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Free Play is like, we have like an ongoing relationship with Free Play, and just so much respect for what they do. It's very obvious to me. It's not just a business for those guys, right? People like Chris, for example, just like all the passion he puts into what he does for the community. It's sort of, when I think about arcade games, I don't think about having a collection at home for yourself. That's cool. But I think for me, the real definitive thing for an arcade experience is the community and kind of the social aspect of it. Like,
oh yeah,
either playing with you or watching, right? Like there's this really cool thing I remember, from the heyday of when I was going, where it was like people would almost put on like a clinic, right? Where they like, people that could play through Dragon's Lair with 1 quarter, for example, or like, just like really, really great players kind of showing what they were capable of. And I just have a really, really soft spot for that. And it seems like, the folks that run free play certainly do as well.
Yeah, I know growing up, playing fighting games a bunch, like I remember the first time I was playing Marvel vs. Capcom 1, and somebody showed me that you could actually charge shot with Mega Man in that game, and that blew my mind. So that type of thing where you're learning something on the fly like that, or watching somebody do something that you've never seen before, that's one of the best
Right,
aspects.
for sure.
It was always like the Wild West for me, because depending on what arcade you go to, there's like the best person at that arcade. And I always imagined it would be cool to be that guy that could be good enough to kind of go fight or play in the other arcades. And then you start noticing, like, as I got older, you start noticing different arcades had different styles of, specifically in fighting games, like they would play this way versus this way.
Yeah, for sure. That's one of the reasons why I think, I just have such a fascination for fighting games specifically, just because it's almost like you can communicate your own personality through the way you play,
For sure.
which is probably more so than a lot of other genres. And yeah, I completely agree. Like I at the time when we were, around the time that Third Strike was actually out as a new release, we thought, hey, we're getting pretty good at this. We started driving around to like bigger cities, and like we went to a tournament in Chicago, for example, and just got completely annihilated. Just because like literally like where we were at in Indianapolis, in Indiana, there really just wasn't a community that was strong in terms of the players. But yeah, it's totally like you see people like that kind of bring their style into it, like I remember when it was the big thing was like California versus Japan and Street Fighter, right? Like that's just a really cool time.
I mean, even still, it's still a West Coast East Coast kind of rivalry, and like even back in the day, it was considered West Coast was like the Rushdown and East Coast was the Turtle style. So those two clashed against each other, playing characters completely differently. So that still is a thing that exists for sure.
Even in states, like I know here, like locally, it's always like Dallas versus Austin versus Houston versus San Antonio.
Yeah.
Even like the smaller places, like I think between Killeen started getting in on the mix. It was weird, but yeah. I mean, small rivalries like that is kind of what makes the community. It's not like like a bad thing. Once we get to like Evo or whatever, we become Texas as opposed to Houston.
Yeah.
Right. But it was almost like those smaller little like sub rivalries are what kind of keep things going intermittently, like between the big tournaments, which I think that's just cool. I think, there aren't many genres of games, like especially not arcade, that you could build a community like that around, so it's certainly.
I can't
That's
wait
why
for
this
Arlington
quarantine
versus Denton versus Richardson or something.
That's why this quarantine sucks, man. I'm dying to go play Super Turbo in person again.
Yeah, I know. And that's like when Chris mentioned, like our team joining on for some of these conversations. I was like, gosh, if there's anything we can do to help, we're 100% down. Because yeah, I think I can't imagine, like having that business where, it's dependent on that, and it's shut down right now. It's awful.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why us dorks get the floor for a while to talk about video game music. So at least we got this out of it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And hello.
Hey, Jerry.
Hey, Jerry.
How's the plumber?
Still trying to figure out where that leak's coming from.
Well, good luck and Godspeed to him.
They brought in Luigi and not Mario, huh?
Oh man, don't hate on Luigi. He's the better brother.
The better brother.
Yeah, man. Underrated.
Alright. Speaking of which, where's yours?
That's a good question. I know he says he had something going on, so.
That's true. Okay. Well, unfortunately, we're not hearing any music in the background. The first one we heard this morning.
We'll probably go back and talk about these later when Josh gets here and he can play. For now, it's just kind of background music.
Yeah, it's on the stream, but we can't hear it here.
It's on the stream, yeah. There's none for us, yeah. It's hard for me to pop in back and forth. It's like
I wonder if there's a way we can get
That's
the
the thing.
mixer to like go through Discord too. Like that might be the easier way going forward. I don't know. Like I said,
It's
Chris, we're still
bad.
figuring this out on the fly.
Hey man, no worries whatsoever. I'm not stressed for sure.
I've tried it because of the way Discord works. Like it cuts in and out because it thinks it's a voice, so it turns
Ah.
off. Unless you hold down push to talk the entire time or something.
Yeah,
So,
we'd
I know
have
there's a way
we'd have to get
music
like a
robots.
yeah. Well, what I'll do is for the future I'll probably set up like a second computer that just plays the music that can play it into Discord as well.
Yeah, I know we've at least got it going on the stream, the playlist, right? So there's shoot 'em up music going on for sure.
Nice.
So
I
right
saw
now we're
some.
still looking at Sky Cursor right now. So
I saw Section Z was playing a minute ago, and oh man, until I was putting together this list, I had forgotten all about that game.
Section Z.
Yeah, it was like a shmup, but it was like a choose your own adventure shmup almost, because you at the end of every stage you could choose to go up or, and you had to find your way through the maze to get to the end of the stage.
Oh man, this is so early Capcom. They even have like the old Mega Man style like box art for Nintendo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that style is so awesome. Yeah, at Section Z, I just remember as a kid just being infuriated by it, just because it was just so challenging.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
you had the component of also like being able to get lost, and I was just like, oh my god, this is blowing
Yeah,
my mind.
I remember starting over, like accidentally going back to the beginning over and over and being furious.
For
Yeah,
sure.
Most of my shoot 'em up, like I said, it's a genre like I haven't really played too much, but I've always enjoyed like the genre and watching it and like talking to people about it and watching them play it, like really good ones. So all I know is I know there's really good music from the genre, but it's not a genre that I've really spent it like a fighting game, for example. Like I spend a ton of time playing fighting games, but not so much shoot 'em ups. Tons
Yeah,
of
that
respect
was-
for the genre though.
That was another thing that I noticed when putting the list together was the majority of my shmup knowledge comes from playing them on an NES.
Yeah, like Gradius and whatnot.
Yeah, Gradius, Section Z, Tiger Heli, Legendary Wings.
A lot of them felt similar. To me, a lot of them felt like Life Force, unless you consider the. Oh, I guess that's where the difference is between like a game like Life Force and then like more of a bullet hell type thing, like old 1942 or 1943. You know what I mean? Like the top down, dodge everything. To me as a kid, it even felt like Kari Warriors or Commando felt kind of like a bullet hell E. You just have to dodge things and again top down moving. You know, top
Or even Gunsmoke.
Gunsmoke. Wow, yeah.
I think a lot of it just boils down to kind of like the nuance of it is one of those subgenres I think that does have like at the surface level there is a lot of similarity, but when you start to dive into like the scoring systems, for example, or just like the way like the patterns is a big thing in bullet hell, right? We talked about that.
Yeah.
Whereas I would say like the older style, in my opinion, shoot 'em ups were more reactionary, where you maybe didn't have to have the level completely memorized, because just kind of sort of the way the levels flowed, you could be a little bit more reactionary into what was happening. Whereas I think mastery on like a bullet hell, it almost seems like you have to have those patterns pretty much memorized, or just have like unbelievable reflexes, you know, which I think most of the great players have a little bit of both. But yeah, it's certainly one of those things that I think it's on the surface. And I think that's probably why the genre isn't quite as big in the US as it is, say, in Japan, for example. Or Japan pretty much exclusively, I guess I should say. Is just, you know, like it is one of those things where it's almost like you see details of, you know, what makes the games unique. Like it's not as immediately obvious on the surface as it is maybe in some of the other genres.
Yeah.
It almost becomes like a rhythm game, because I remember the first time playing Ikaruga. Is that the one that you can switch back and forth between the two bullets? That was like a whole new thing for me. I was like, oh, you can just switch back and forth, and that's how you dodge things. It became almost like rhythm game-ish to me, learning the patterns.
Yeah,
switching back and forth.
yeah, and you know that game gets cited a lot as sort of introducing a very novel idea, right, with the ability to switch the ship over and sort of pass through bullets that were corresponding color. And you know, it's funny because I think a lot of I'm not a purist when it comes to like I enjoy kind of a wide range, but like I think a lot of the hardcore bullet hell enthusiasts actually look down on Ikaruga for that reason, that it's not as like even though it's incredibly challenging, it's such a challenging game, but like that is almost like that extra nuance removed some of the. It's almost like the argument I would think of is like how some people say that introducing supers into Street Fighter kind of ruined or changed the gameplay. I mean, maybe that's a little bit too much of a stretch, but it feels a little bit like that.
What you're saying. I get exactly what you're saying with that. I think, especially I remember when it first came out, because it kind of revitalized the genre, right? It was like, okay, here's this old arcade genre out of nowhere. Have you played Ikaruga? It's this crazy,
you brought it back into the mainstream discussion for sure. Yeah.
But I mean, on the other hand, like you can see why. It's like every time a new Street Fighter, like the Street Fighter 2 players didn't like the Street Fighter 3 games, the Street Fighter third strike players didn't like Street Fighter 4 when it came out. It's just like a never-ending cycle, right? So if there's like anything new, like although it's a little different in this case, like you said, introducing the super, there's a lot of people that prefer hyper fighting because they don't like the supers and Super Turbo. So
exactly, yeah, exactly. And that, you know, like I've alluded to this a little bit, but like I think a little bit that's like kind of what we with our game, because it was definitely on the surface, it's just like, oh, this is a shoot 'em up, so it needs to do X, Y, and Z, right, to be like kind of in that genre. And we did none of those. You know, like our game just plays like wildly different. And I think the people who get it, you know, they really, really enjoy it. But those people who kind of came in expecting, you know, some more of like traditional bullet hell, it's almost like we thought about doing a marketing thing where it's like, this is not a bullet hell, like first and foremost, you know.
So I almost just prefer the shmup category itself over the bullet hell category. That said, I do have some favorite bullet hells, like Gigawing for sure is up there. For the most part, Gradius is definitely one of my favorite series ever.
Yeah, Gradius is incredible, and I'm actually in that same camp too, where I think bullet hell is a subgenre, has its place, and I have a ton of respect for it. But like when I think about just being true to myself, like what I grew up playing and enjoy most, it's more of the more mid-paced, you know. And then the last Gradius that came out on PlayStation 2, that was like a big. We would watch a ton of that. It's such an incredible game.
Yeah,
it's
Gradius
almost like
5.
Yeah, it's almost like a AAA shoot 'em up. Like in terms of like the level of like. It's graphically just incredibly beautiful. The soundtrack's amazing. You know, it's a really, really great game.
My favorite part of that was being able to turn the lasers on the option.
Yeah, no kidding. It gave me that feeling of like almost like when you could whip Simon's whip in all the different directions on Supercast. Yeah.
Who needs Ripple? I'll just spaz the laser. Yeah, Life Force.
No, 2-player Gradius as in like was it a versus? I remember it in an arcade where you go back and forth. Like you can flip your ship left and right, and different ships had like different property. And it was like 2-player, and it was on the same screen almost. And like it wasn't like a level that scrolled. You just went back and forth like shooting things on the screen.
I think I know.
Is that an arcade game?
Arcade game, yeah.
I mean,
I'm trying to think.
Kind of describing Defender, but I don't think Defender was 2-player simultaneous.
Is Defender a shoot 'em up?
Maybe the chat might have to help us out on that one. I saw somebody bring up. I wanted to shout out that they brought up In the Hunt. I don't know if you guys have played that, but it's the same art team that did Metal Slug, and it's a submarine shoot 'em up.
Oh, nice.
It's incredible. Yeah. In the Hunt, it's really, really awesome. It's sort of like a mid-paced, even maybe slower paced shoot 'em up because you're in a sub, but like visually, it's peak pixel art stuff. I mean, like the mechanics and the machinery, it's incredible. It's really, really good game.
I also had an experience with like this. It was an old PC game, and I remember it because I should have been working on like design portfolio stuff. But I ended up playing this game at night for a long time because it was a shmup, but it was versus. You had to shoot the other ship across the way, and it was like a top-down, and there were like bubbles in the way. And the more you shot through bubbles, the more they would break up into more particles, and then you would have to avoid those while trying to shoot the other ship in front of you. The thing is, those ships had different properties. Some of them had like one big shot. Some of them had like homing shots. Get what it was called, but again, I tend to like more like multiplayer stuff, and so those two stick out in my mind as being a weird versus in this category, which I've never really seen before.
I think there's an opportunity there, like for somebody. There's a one called Rival Mega Gun that just came out not too long ago, and it's almost like like imagine the screen structure of like competitive Tetris, where but it's a shoot 'em up, and like if you destroy certain enemies, it will kick it over to the other player's side, so they have to deal with them.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really, really creative, and it's also really pretty too. It's really, really good looking game.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. I put a song in here that's similar to this and similar to the bubble thing was Twinkle Star Sprites. I don't know if anyone's ever played that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's like a competitive versus shoot 'em up ish type
There
thing.
was actually a Twinkle Star Sprites tournament at GDQ in January.
Nice.
I think Free Play's thrown one before too, haven't they?
I think
I
even
don't-
for Puzzle Night.
I don't remember. I know I've been talking to Blomgren about doing it, but I don't know that it ever happened.
I mean, put it on the list. There's a million things we want to do once the place is open back up. So
There you go. We were running a kind of tournament for high score, just like a international thing for a while, and there were scores would come out everywhere, and then once it got into Mikado, it was like literally triple the score that I'd ever even seen
Oh
that
my
our team
God.
had ever even done. Right, like playing it, like testing it, like our own team. We're like, how the hell are these guys getting this score? It's just like, it's incredible, like how far people can take, their mastery of games. It's like, it's amazing.
yeah, it kind of reminds me of a couple years ago. Chris and Sean took a trip out to Japan when they were recruiting players to come over for Spring Series, and Yaya, the legendary Guile Sagat player, is also, he destroys ghouls and ghosts, and he's just doing it casually there, like with the crowd around him, just totally destroying the game, just no big deal. So it's probably kind of a similar thing where like, oh, how are these guys even doing this? I thought this game was impossible type thing.
Yeah, no kidding, right? It's almost like a game like that where it's notorious for being incredibly difficult, right? And somebody's just casually running through it,
If anybody still has like a recording of like PAX 2013, the Capcom booth somewhere, you'll see me almost do that until I get to like the second to last stage.
Oh, damn.
No, I could not. That last ladder up to where the two bosses are, I kept getting killed.
That's not easy.
Very unforgiving game for sure.
So I guess you guys you
Rival
update this.
right now.
You guys update the game right through via the internet. So whenever you saw those high scores from Mikado, like what were you guys thinking? It's like, do we need to tune the difficulty in this? What do we do, or is it?
No, yeah, that was one of the things that like if I had it all to do it, I think one of the things that I would probably change is like not listening to the community less, but like trying to filter through what we were learning from people who were playing it through like honoring our same initial vision for what we wanted to do with the game. Because I think we floundered a little bit back and forth on the updates. Maybe we were a little bit too responsive to certain things that were like maybe not like a vocal minority's perspective as opposed to like, the majority of the people that were playing it. But yeah, with something like that, when we saw that, it was almost like, it was cool, because I mean, a lot of arcade games end up having these exploits or these ways to get high score that maybe even the developers didn't intend originally. Sure. Or you take a Street Fighter, right? Like,
oh yeah,
people were going to know that super jump canceling was ever going to be, like it's like crazy, like the level of things that people have figured out along the way. And so there's a certain, like one of the weirdest things about making games, at least for me, was like just being able to let go and let like sort of like people interpret it the way that they were going to, or like experience it the way that they were going to, because you have this idea in your mind, right, of like the way that people are going to play it. And like once we got sort of comfortable with that, it got a lot easier, because it was like, oh yeah, I mean, people are going to figure out these crazy, you know, ways to rake up score or whatever, but it's almost like sort of the charm, you know, in a way, at least for me with an arcade game, where it's sort of, you got to go to the place to play it, and you got to try to figure it out on your own. Like that mystique was a big part of like what drew me into the arcade back in the day, kind of like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I fully agree with that, and it's with any game too, right? Like there's always going to be a minority that thinks they know better or how it should be balanced, but it's completely different underneath the hood when you actually try to make those changes.
Yeah, you know, you might end up robbing Peter to pay Paul too, you know, like adjusting for one thing can kill the experience on something else, you know. It's like, it's crazy, man. Like, because I made music long before I made games, and I was, you know, into art before all that, but like making games is so demanding on so many levels, you know. It's crazy. Like, you know, I look at like just, you know, amazing games that have come out over my lifetime, and I'm like, oh my God, it's just like thinking about the work and the level of focus that it's a really, really awesome creative endeavor, but it's also just so demanding. You know what I mean?
Hey, boys.
Hey, Ian, I'm looking at the Gradius artwork. I'm like, are you gonna make me a Maui head?
You're gonna be the ship.
Because that image I sent you last week might work perfect for that.
That might work. So I'm getting to that part where we need to make a decision on like what. So Chris, since you are brand new here, what we do is we look for an image that we can kind of like manipulate or change for VG Wednesday. Usually I used to just do the typeface and change it up so that it just says VG Wednesday on like the covers of most games. But for these quarantine weeks, we've been trying to put Chris's face in each one. And so this week is going to be the most difficult because spaceships don't have faces. So
No, but a lot of their enemies do.
that's true. Covers though, I was looking at all the Ikaruga stuff. First of all, that artwork is amazing.
It really is. Yeah, it's very, very cool
pretty.
style.
I mean, there's some other shoot 'em ups that have like, you know, characters in them.
Well, speaking of shoot 'em ups or games that have like enemies with faces, I mean,
Well, the Section Z cover kind of worked because that had a character on it.
yeah, that too.
Yeah, there's the Toho games. There's the Dodonpachi game. UN Squadron. That's a good. Yeah, the guy, the pilot.
There you go. Yeah.
There's Gunsmoke box art.
But I'm
That's
just
got a
saying,
guy on it.
since we have a special guest and our first
Hey, boys.
special guest.
Mind if I tune in on this subject a little bit?
You might know a thing or two.
I want to say I'm a huge fan of Sky Cursor. I'm also a huge fan of Mission 4. Mission 4 was the add-on mission, the DLC, I guess, if you will, that came later. And it did everything that all the other missions did, but blew it out of the park even more. And if you're talking about faces on shoot-em-ups, that last boss that Chris came up with, which I always called it Father Brain.
I love that.
But it's a disembodied brain that's all like cyberpunked out with like a metal spine coming out of it. It uses portals, much like from Portal. If you're looking for a face in a shoot 'em up, let me kindly recommend Sky Cursor.
That's what I was about to say. Like, for it, we could pretty much put a face as this face. Anyone like look at it. So.
Hey man, you're the artist.
I'm thinking we do that, or we mod or fake one of these cabs since it's got an even bigger face on the sides.
That's
this
true.
cab
Yeah.
is great too, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that was actually it was pretty cool because we originally the side art was much more simplified. It was just like a vinyl graphic of just like the Crest logo that we were using at the time. And one of our arcades, it was shortly after we went to the Galloping Ghost. There was another arcade because there's a big arcade scene in Illinois around the Chicago area. There was another arcade, and they were like, we really want to do like an old school style full graphic, right? Like where it's, you know, the whole cabinet is decorated. And So I actually did that in response to kind of their request. And it ended up being like, there's no way we can never ship another version. Like, you know, like it was just like, we got to use this graphic because, yeah, it turned out really, really cool.
Yeah,
I smell the pizza place already just looking at it.
Exactly, right? Yeah. In fact, there's there's a one of the features we added sort of late in the game was to kind of heighten the scoring system. You can build up meter like you would in a fighting game, right? And when you get the meter completely populated, you can kind of go into a super burst mode that will, you know, kind of nix everything on the screen initially, but then as more enemies are coming in, you get a period of time where you're kind of in like a bonus state where when you're killing them, you're getting bonus items, and it's all food. So it's like hot dogs, pizzas, sushi, like, because it's, you know, it's supposed to be like the kind of the dog brain taste. And you just like see everything as things you could be eating. But yeah, that was one of the things, like we were like, we got to find a way to get pizza into a shoot 'em up, and yeah, that was our answer.
So you mentioned that you've been doing music before, like game making and art. So how long have you made music, and how did you typically do it? Like, what did you play? Is this the first game you've scored?
Yeah, so this is the first game that I made music for. But yeah, I grew up playing the guitar and drums, and I was actually was in like a lot of heavy metal bands, like thrash metal bands and black metal bands and things like that. What I grew up listening to, and had a period where I thought I was going to be a professional musician. We got a record deal with Metal Blade, which is like, you know, first label to sign like Slayer and Metallica, and really, really cool label. And it was like one of those life-changing things, like, oh my God, we're going to do this, you know. But turned out like that's making money making music is pretty much impossible. So that was one of those things where, you know, I wanted to kind of try to, you know, still continue to make music, and but also had like a real love for art. So when the opportunity to make a game came up, little friends I talked about that make up the rest of the team with me, it was like, you know, I definitely wanted to be connected with making the music. And, you know, you'll notice the soundtrack for Sky Cursor is definitely like sort of a synth wave, like, kind of aggressive style, which is kind of funny because I love that stuff. But like when I think about my favorite video game music, I was mentioning to you guys, it's like that 8-bit Konami era, you know, Castlevania, like the stuff they did. And I actually scrolled up earlier in the thread just to kind of see what you guys have been chatting about in the kind of the little thread we had around this. And I noticed you guys brought up Jake Kaufman, who goes by Vert. And that guy is like, oh my God, in terms of a modern producer for video game music, he spirit. Oh my God, he is so good.
I actually reached out to him yesterday, not to make you feel bad about being on the show, but like he's one of the people that I would absolutely love to have.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, God, I would love to chat with that guy. He definitely, like, because that stuff is really hard to do too. You know, like especially like take Castlevania for example, like the musicality in that stuff, and the fact that there's only a few channels of active instruments happening at any given time, unbelievable. It's almost like classical music in the terms of just like the amount of thought and complexity that's happening in those melodies. Like Castlevania for me is like the embodiment of just like pinnacle 8-bit music, you know.
No, I would agree with you there.
Yeah, and so I just say a ton of respect for that style.
We brought it up multiple times that like having things taken away from you or having like a limit is kind of like where creativity kind of comes up anyway. You know what I mean?
For sure.
The more you have to think about how to get, and like those people back in the day, like I have a lot of respect for like the 8-bit stuff, because you're not only making music, you're competing with like the sounds in the game too.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, so many NES games like interrupt the music to play, you know, key sound effects and things like that. So where it's like, you got to make sure those melodies were just so infectious, right? Like, and I feel like one of the things that kind of got lost in sort of the, you know, like post PlayStation era where everything could be switched to kind of CD, there was more just like atmospheric music and like just sort of pads and things like that, which is still cool and can create an atmosphere. But like, you know, in terms of those just soaring melodies that you have in a lot of the older 8-bit stuff, you know, there aren't many composers nowadays really doing anything like that, at least that I'm aware of.
They had to be infectious back then because you had so little to work with. So you had to grab them with the hardest hitting stuff like right away, or not. The hardest,
yeah, no, but
most
like the most
memorable
catchy, most memorable. Yeah. Like it's funny because I'm saying all this, and like the soundtrack for Sky Curse is almost like the opposite, where it's very CD quality kind of audio synthwave stuff. But I think I was limiting myself so hard on the art side to like trying to maintain true 16-bit era of like the palette limits and things like that, that once it got time to make music, I was just like, okay, I'm just letting go of all the guardrails and just not to simplify it for myself, but it was definitely like by that point it was like I was kind of had been operating in that limitations mindset so hard that I was like, I don't think I can do it for the music.
Yeah. Atmosphere though is like important too. That was one of our topics. Like it was something about looking through a window or whatever, but most of the songs picked for that one was definitely atmospheric. But memorable in a way.
There's like a time and place for like everything, right? Like
for sure.
Better. But like compared to like the 8-bit classic Castlevania theme compared to like a Metroid Prime song, like they're both great, but they do things differently,
Yeah, or like Silent Hill wouldn't be Silent Hill if it wasn't for that soundtrack, you know what I mean?
Foghorn noises.
So you mentioned music and some of your, like you mentioned Castlevania. Do you have like any other favorite video game composers, video game soundtracks? Like what are some of your favorites?
Yeah, I mean, I think, gosh, not to just stay parked on Castlevania, but when they made the transition from like I think like probably Dracula's Curse, Castlevania 3 is peak 8-bit era, just like everything is perfect. And then, the way the incredible segue they made with Symphony of the Night, where they kept that same really, really infectious, melodies and kind of, but then did it with, a little bit more modern sounds and like kind of more of an orchestral type version. Like that soundtrack is awesome. I mean, like how could you not?
Lost Painting is one of my favorite songs on that soundtrack.
Oh, it's incredible. I actually I can do like a really butchered version of it on acoustic guitar. I saw like some guy had done like a classical version of it on guitar on nylon string, and I was just like, oh, I've got to learn how to do that because it is just incredible, man. It's like, I could talk about that stuff all day. Like I have such a soft spot for that series music, and to be more specific, the first 3 games and then Symphony. I think the Super Nintendo and Bloodlines, those are cool games, and like Rondo. Those all have great music, but they don't quite meet that mark of excellence.
I think compared like Rondo and the SNES version of Dracula X, like they both sound pretty dramatically different because of the limitations of the SNES too. Like I think they sound very, very different, but I think Rondo has a fantastic soundtrack. But yeah, nothing really touches Symphony or Castlevania 3. I'm with you.
I really enjoy the Bloodline soundtrack is good.
Oh yeah, that's great too.
And then the Sharp 68,000 version of the original Castlevania soundtrack.
Oh yeah, that's really good too, yeah.
Especially if you have the right MIDI, I can't think of the word, MIDI synthesizer attached to the machine.
Yeah, did they get it right with Chronicles? Isn't that the Castlevania Chronicles that came out on PlayStation?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Chronicles says that it emulated one of the Roylands, but I don't think it emulated one of the higher ones that I've seen. Yeah, because
like
I
actually to it, but yeah,
I actually played through on an emulator a while back, and there's one stage that's got a lot of stained glass paintings in the background that just has an absolutely amazing song to it on the right version of the synthesizer.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Imagine how frustrating that would be for the composer to have created it with the intention of it sounding one way and then like just sounding wildly different, in the final release. In fact, that was kind of funny, like really going to modern times, but being kind of involved in music, there's a guy that I follow that does like mixing and mastering, and he's in Australia. And he just released a really interesting article about he was scheduled to master the last Doom Eternal soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
And apparently got botched really bad. And and it's just like, oh, that must be so frustrating for Mick. I think Mick Gordon, the guy that did the
Yeah, it was Mick Gordon.
Yeah.
Be pleased.
I was reading he was frustrated enough that he's talking about not working with Bethesda again.
Yeah, and I mean, it just kind of goes to show you that it's like there's so much just weird. When you talk about games at that scale, just like all the red tape and everything, it's just too bad, because I'm sure, what they were going to do is going to be incredible.
Do you guys know about the Doom 3 story?
No.
Doom 3. So I'm friends with a bunch of the guys from id, especially from that era when they were constructing Doom 3. They played Tekken Tag Tournament back in their custom arcade cabinet with me back in the day. So
wow.
I was back in there seeing like the original character models for Doom 3 kind of floating around their computers looking like disembodied heads and scaring the crap out of me. But
kind of look on screen right now.
Right, but one of the right. One of the things that that really struck me was they had all of the soundtrack done entirely by Trent Reznor. Like the whole thing.
He did Quake 1 as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
He did. He also did Doom 3. He did the entire complete soundtrack for it, recorded. It was basically a whole new Nine Inch Nails album, and it got cut down by the recording company, the RIAA, which I will never appreciate, and erased from history. Like they did the music for Doom 3 now is still good, and it is a riff on what he created, but it is not Trent Reznor's like original work that he provided for Doom 3.
It wasn't included in the final game.
No. No, I hope it's.
That's because I was about to say, because in Doom Eternal you can collect songs from previous id games, and unsurprisingly, Quake 1 is not on there because
all the licensing issues.
But you were telling that story, I was like, but wait a second, Doom 3 is on there, but it made sense when you finished it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's. I hope it's not eternally lost from history, because I hate to hear that kind of art going to nothingness. So I hope.
Yeah, no kidding.
I hope wherever those mystery files are, they just find themselves somewhere on the dark web where they can get leaked around again.
Yeah, somebody's got to have it on a hard drive somewhere. Right?
I suspect I know people who do, but like it's locked names somewhere like a shirtless Mike B dancing video, and gotta get it released to the public somehow.
$200 is on the line if somebody finds that shirt.
There you go.
Did you use
one more question before I have to? Sorry, yeah, I was just gonna say I probably got like one more question. Unfortunately, I've got to get back to work.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, did you see the Doom Eternal making of soundtrack documentary, where he got together all these famous death metal singers to form death metal choir for the game?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's really I have a real love for id, right? And I mean, even though it's a wildly different team now than it was back in the original Doom, I just have like so much respect for the fact that they were able to kind of ride that storm and come out with, both of these last Doom games are exceptional in my opinion. They're really, really awesome games. But yeah, like there's a really great documentary from NoClip about the production of the Doom 2016 that I watched religiously. And then, so yeah, like any content I can get my hands on around that. But yeah, that one was really, really cool. And just like the way he was able to kind of modernize even just those legacy MIDI, tracks. And kind of turn them into something where you can hear the spirit of it, but they're wild.
Oh yeah. The first time I noticed that in Eternal, I was like, oh my god, I recognize this song from Doom 2.
Yeah, totally.
One more thing for you before you have to head out. Going back to the Castlevania music, if you haven't already, look up Happy Vania Vampire. It's a Bandcamp release where they took Castlevania 1 through 3 and converted all the tracks from minor key to major key.
Oh my god, that sounds hilarious.
It's amazing.
I'll have to check that out. One more time, you cut out just at the very end. What's the name of it?
Happy Vania Vampire Lover.
Okay, I'll check it out for sure.
So you said you had to head out. Is there anything else you wanted to say? Anything you want to plug? Anything like that? The floor is yours.
No, I just say, like happy to help support free play in any way I possibly can. Chris, thank you so much for those kind words. I mean, that really is like rocket fuel for our team in terms of just like people actually enjoying what we're doing.
It's just how I feel.
yeah, I can't wait for you guys to reopen. Obviously, we've got some big things planned with you guys, which I'm sure, Chris, you know of.
I know, no one else does.
Yeah, but definitely excited to be part of your guys' ongoing story, and I can't thank you enough for having me on here. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, we do it every Wednesday, so if you ever want to pop on and talk about Castlevania music, you're more than welcome.
Anytime, guys.
Come up every week, man. Every week.
I'm tired of this Chris guy just talking about Castlevania. All right, guys, well, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.
No problem, Chris.
Take care.
Thanks for joining us.
All right, I still got Chris Delp's disembodied head I see now.
I'm right here. I'm right here. I'm not dead yet.
Not yet.
We should like throw your camera on here so we can have you pose in these because you have the green shirt right now.
I do. I put on
you right now.
my greenish PJs too, so maybe I can entirely disappear. But I'm behind the other side here. I'll transfer over. Be right back.
He's lying. He's shirtless before he gets back on camera.
He's recreating the Mike pants.
That was really cool, though. Chris seems really passionate about his game, obviously, and music as a whole, and he's got good taste if he thinks Castlevania 3 is the pinnacle of NES.
Absolutely.
You didn't ask him Super or GT.
I don't know. Is he a Dragon Ball fan?
I don't know.
Well, we already know the answer. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
So yeah. I was about to say we didn't ask him the Penelope question this week.
Oh, his favorite. Damn. Yeah. Well,
guess we gotta get him back on.
Shoot him a message. Yeah. Urgent. Get back right now.
Thunder Force. See, that was what I was gonna say. This is
Thunder
my
Force
jam
3
right
and
here.
4.
Yes.
3 and 4 have amazing soundtracks.
Totally, and that was what I was thinking of when I was listening to you guys in the shower.
Oh.
Yeah, it's 3 and 4. I think 4 has a slightly better soundtrack, but both are just like pinnacle Genesis OSTs in my.
Let's see, I'm trying to get you look away.
So, what are you thinking here with this one, Ian?
So, because we got Max the dog on the side, pretty sure we can have Kitty. Is this Keaton? I think this.
That's Keaton.
Yep. We have Keaton. Hopefully, headphones and some sunglasses.
Nice.
So I'm glad I asked about the dog because I knew that was somebody's dog. You don't put a random
yeah.
unless it's one of yours. Wait, there's dog. I didn't realize there's like a dog counter on the top right. You have guys and dogs.
Well, yeah, because they added on a second player. It didn't originally have multiplayer. That was one of the updates. So there's 2-player simultaneous multiplayer with 2 different characters. One plays as the Sky Cursor main ship, and the other one plays as Sammy, the dog.
Oh, that's awesome. Is he in the mech suit?
Yes, he is.
Nice.
And you can summon Sammy like as a EX move. Yes, the game has EX moves.
Nice.
Okay,
well, if the guy loves Third Strike as much as he said he was, then yeah, an EX move in the game doesn't surprise me.
Right.
Yeah, I think, how long has Richardson had it? I know it's been a while.
There as long as I can remember.
Yeah, year 1 of free play. No, it was towards Halloween so it was before. It was year 1 of free play, but it was in the second year. I think it was 2015 when it opened. So like October 2016, somewhere around there.
Nice. So
I want to say it debuted at the Halloween party where I was 3/4 naked and I was just sitting there playing this new shoot 'em up. I played it right before everybody like flooded in and just sat on the machine. So I played that first iteration back before they had a lot of the scoring elements and everything else. So it was great. Love at first sight for sure.
It is really cool looking. Like you can just tell from the way he was describing it how much him and his team really cared about.
I can tell you that game is underappreciated, like very underappreciated. I can tell you why it's underappreciated. Everybody walks through the line and they look and they say, oh, there's another old game. That's one I don't recognize. Let me go to this old game that I do recognize, and then they never even realize Sky Cursor's a thing.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of one of the weird parts about releasing a quote-unquote retro arcade game nowadays, right? Because there's that, there's Cosmotron's, Killer Queen even, like, they're new / retro games. It's really, it's what's already kind of just a niche is even more of a niche when you're releasing a new retro arcade game.
But Cosmotrons and Killer Queen in particular have modern cabinets with modern elements to their cabinets. So like the Cosmotrons cabinet is beautiful and it catches people's attention and people play it just because of that. Whereas they did the full retro experience with Sky Cursor, so it looks, it feels, it sounds like a retro game. It, in every way, is a retro game. It just happens to have been made in 2014, 2015, 2016. Like, it's CRT, Dynamo Cab, JAMA, all the buttons, everything. It's straight up from a bygone era. It's not homaging it. It is from a bygone era. It's amazing.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Japan?
Japan.
That's gotta be like the biggest thing too.
Yeah, Mikado, that is nuts.
Yeah, did he mention it was big in Japan?
Yeah, well, I brought up that it was in Mikado Game Center, and yeah, he was saying that their minds were blown when like we were getting the high score reports back there that like tripled what they thought was even possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I know Logan and Chicago has it, Logan Arcade, so I know that Archvillain has probably played it before.
Most likely, yeah.
So yeah, it's really cool to see the reach that it's had, because again, it's not a common thing for something like this to exist. Like you said, on the full-on JAMA release, CRT, like you're buying it like you would back in the day, like a new version of like the CPS2 board.
I can't remember if I'd finally talked Corey into transferring it over to Free Play Fort Worth. Like, me and Orlando and Dylan have been obsessed with getting the world record back for Sky Cursor for the longest time, but I can't commit a bunch of time to it anymore. And Dylan lives in Fort Worth, so he really doesn't have access to it like he needs to grind away and get the world record. So it's been, initially the push was to put it to Arlington because that's where Dylan could get, but when Fort Worth opened, it made all the sense in the world. I think they transferred it, but then like in the last week, you know, and then everything went straight to heck.
Yeah. Well, he's got a plan. Whenever it opens back up, then he can go attack Sky Cursor.
Yeah. I don't know where it is at this moment, but yeah, I certainly hope so.
So Jerry, I know you mentioned Gradius. You play that a lot. Weren't you practicing Gradius 3 speedrun or something, or score attack?
Yeah. So I'm planning a couple of Gradius things actually. Hang on a second. Let me fix my push talk.
No, we want to hear the plumber.
Oh no, he's done now.
That's quick.
Gone. That's why I'm turning push to talk off. So yeah, I am working on. So I want to do a recording of getting the world record in Gradius 1 because that is something that is within my realm of doing. I think the best score I put up so far is 6.5 million, something like that. And this is without using any Konami codes or anything. So the original Gradius. Huh?
What's the Konami code do in the original Gradius?
In the original Gradius, it gives you all the power ups except for laser. It doesn't give you double and it doesn't give you laser. So it gives you two options, your shields. That's it. That's all you get. And the original Gradius was a little simpler. So, but yeah, you get your two options, your shield, and then you just get a couple of speed ups on your own and your lasers, and you're set to go. So putting in that Konami code really gets you up to power really quickly in that game. So the world record is just over 10 million because that's when the score resets. And the guy that was working on it said he was bored and he didn't want to play anymore.
That's how I feel about a lot of like high score tests, man. Like I just don't have the endurance for it.
Well, the way that game works is if you die, it's depending on where you die, there's a good chance your game's over. Because without power-ups, it's just too difficult to get back up to speed. Luckily, you get about 1 billion lives trying to get your score that high. I actually was the night I got my best score, I died on it was the 7th loop, and I had about 4 million points, and I hadn't died yet at all. And then I died, and I have 35 extra lives. I spent probably 20 of them before I was able to recover the run.
Jeez.
Yeah. That game does not play.
Sounds like torture.
I'm also working on Gradius 3. I'm working on doing an arcade difficulty run of the Super Nintendo version of Gradius 3 with a modified chip in it. They basically converted the game to run on an SNES chip called the SA1 chip, and that boosts the CPU power by like 25 megahertz in the Super Nintendo, and it removes all slowdown from the game, which makes it way harder.
Yeah, I would think so.
You really relied on a lot of that slowdown to kind of make your snap decisions to dodge bullets and see things coming at you. Like, you still could only react as fast as the game would let you move, but when it's running slower, it's definitely a lot easier to see, okay, well, this bullet's coming from me over there. I need to start moving now.
So are we going for like a...
fit the cat so well right now. No.
Yeah, that actually looks
Freaking
good.
Perfect.
So are you going for a time attack or a speed
I'm
run?
just going for a completion.
Oh, gotcha.
1 CC, because you have to 1 CC. If you die, it's over. It's in arcade mode. It's just unrecoverable.
That sounds brutal.
Because in that game, your base speed is so slow that when you respawn, you can't move out of the way of things.
Yeah, I know. Like, so what's usually like what's the strat usually? Because I know you have to get faster, but you can only spin your power ups wherever on the smartest thing. What's the optimal way to power?
So I usually power up using 2 speed ups. I'll get 2 speed ups. That'll give me enough speed to get through almost the entire game. Later in the game, you've got to get at least 1 more. So I'll get 2 speed ups, and by the end of the first stage, I'll have 2 options: my laser and missiles. I won't even have my shield yet. But level 1's easy. I've gotten good enough at level 1 that I don't need my shield in level 1.
You're a level 1 god now at this point, right? With all the grinding you've done.
Yeah. It took me a few nights to get through level 1 in a decent manner. So actually, I think I have 3 options by the end of level 1. So starting level 2, I'll get my last option, I'll get my shield, or I'll get my shield and then I'll get my last option, and then I'll get lasers. And the only reason I save that for last is just because when you have 4 options, your bullets aren't bad. One of the things that in the NES version of Gradius 1, you could only get 2 options, but in the SNES version of Gradius 3, you can get 4 options. So you've got 5 turrets basically when you include your ship that to shoot things with. But yeah, the hardest part of that run is probably the plant stage. Is kind of difficult because there's things that if you don't kill them fast enough, they explode in a hail of bullets. And then the end of the speed stage is kind of difficult. So, and that's the stage where you need to get an extra speed up. Because it moves. So on that stage, the screen starts vertically moving instead of just horizontally. And your ship has to be fast enough to keep up with the vertical movement, or you'll just slam into a wall. But
yeah, see, I only ever played that a little bit growing up here and there. Like maybe I could only do a couple stages. I've never actually tried to learn the game. I just know the music's awesome.
Yeah, the music is definitely fantastic in those games. Konami in the 8-bit and the 16-bit era could really put together a soundtrack.
They could put together games, man. Now they're just slot machines and pachinko machines.
Pretty much.
How
that
depressing.
That new version of DDR every now and then.
Dude, do they still even do that?
I think so.
They do
I think
a lot
there was
of
a new
music
version
games
that came
still.
out a while back.
Dude, I didn't even know that was still a thing.
Yeah.
Was
They
it
actually.
So, what is
I
the
think
big
they own the
difference
Pump It
between-
Up license now too.
Huh.
From that Korean company they sued.
Right, they sued them and then just bought it.
Yeah.
Gradius versus like Life Force, is that like a part 1, part 2 kind of thing? Is one like a sequel? Because
So-
Life Force was the only one I actually played.
they were named a lot differently in Japan. I think Gradius 1 was called Salamander. If I recall, Life Force was called Gopher. And then, Gradius 1 was called Nemesis. And then Life Force was called Salamander. And then one of them was called a Gopher. I don't remember which one. Maybe it was Gradius 2. It's a weird naming scheme in Japan. But it's the series is fantastic. Life Force introduced the second ship. I think the main ship is Vic Viper, and the second ship was called Lord British. Which
that sounds like a wrestler. I think Lord British is a wrestler.
I think it's the name of a video game developer.
That's the Ultima Online guy, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lord British. You might be thinking of William Regal. He was the British wrestler guy.
Maybe. British.
I remember they brought Lord British back for one of the one of the Game Boy Advance Gradius games. Also, Vic Viper showed up in I'm spacing on the name right now.
Is it
Zone of the Enders 2?
Oh, did it?
Yes, it's so when you get to Mars in Zone of the Enders 2 and you get attacked, you're attacked by the Vic Viper, who turns into a mech suit, and there's a kid in there. I think the kid piloting Vic Viper was the original pilot from Zone of the Enders 1.
Again, I mostly played Zone of the Enders 1 just so I could play the Metal Gear 2 demo.
Yeah, I touched Zone of the Enders, and then that was it. I went back to the demo.
I really enjoyed that they brought the Gradius lore, I guess, into Zone of the Enders. There's not much lore in Gradius. It's you're attacked by some biomechanical force and you're out to destroy it before it destroys you. So yeah, as you get closer to the end of every Gradius game, your enemies start looking less like ships and start looking like giant weird things, I guess. Yeah. There's literally a stage in Gradius 1 where you're killing giant tumors with tentacle arms.
Dude, shoot 'em up games were crazy. You're mentioning like the plots and stuff. Some of the plots of those are just nuts.
What?
Yeah, I'm not used to plots. I play fighting games.
So what's with the big Easter Island heads? Did they mention anything about that?
It's just something in space. There's these Maui heads in space. I don't remember that there's any kind of lore. They've appeared in a fighting game, though.
Yeah?
There was a Konami fighting game that had Simon Belmont, Maui heads, Bomberman, Optimus Prime, and a few other characters I don't recall off the top of my head. It was very Smash Brothers-esque.
Oh, Dream Mix.
Yes, that's it. Yes, Dream Mix. Dream Mix TV, I think it was called. Yeah, Dream Mix TV World Fighters. It was a very interesting game. It was on GameCube. I'm trying to look at the list of characters. Yeah.
There's a GameCube as one of the characters?
Yeah, Hudson, it was Konami, and Takara character.
Yeah. Twinbee, the first appearance of Solid Snake in a fighting game. The little baseball kid from the Konami baseball games. Optimus Prime. Yeah. Megatron, Maui Head. One of the Belmonts.
A Beyblade character?
It was a very, very weird game. I've actually played it a few times.
Bloody Roar character, too. Yeah, I remember seeing it, but I've never actually played it. Yeah, it's just such a weird mix of characters.
I had a modded PS2 back then, and that is how we played it.
Yeah, that's nuts.
This headphone is so hard to put on a cat. It's like a dog.
I like how it's on the side of the ears too, like just because it's a cat. So.
Right.
What was the name of the what was the shmup in the candy cab at Arlington? I always forget the name.
Oh, one of the cave shooters. I don't remember the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
God, I always forget the name.
There was one in it before that one that was really fun too, where depending on how you moved your ship, you'd get different shots. So like if you were moving left to right really fast, you'd get a shot that would be more focused. And if you weren't moving left and right really fast, your shot would be more spread.
So it's one of those unique gimmicks, kind of like Ikaruga had the shield, the color shield.
Yeah. And somebody a while back told me the name of that one. I cannot remember what it was. It came out on Switch recently, if I recall.
Yeah, I can never remember, because usually the especially like the cave ones, like they have wild ass names that you can't remember. It's not like something simple like, you know, Gradius or R-Type. It's always like something just totally bonkers. I can never remember that. I would always see it though, playing over there.
Yeah.
The one something.
Yeah.
There's Andy. I think that's roughly what you just said.
Yeah, riding on beetles. That game was actually featured at GDQ again this year.
Which one?
The one that's in Arlington. Mashihime Sama Futari. Mushihime. Apparently, and one thing I didn't know about that game is your hitbox is 1 pixel large in that game.
Damn.
It's at the very center of your sprite. And it's still an incredibly hard game.
I was gonna say, sounds like it'd be easier, but knowing a bullet hell like that, no problem.
We were talking about Section Z earlier. To go into a little more detail on that one, you can collect power-ups to fire missiles and move faster. And then at the end of every stage, you're presented with the option of going up and down. And you have to figure out the path to get to the boss of each stage. If you pick the wrong path, you go back to the beginning.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Some paths will only take you back like a room or two. But other paths will just bring you right back to the beginning you're going.
So, like, you literally just start back over?
Yep. Well, you start back at the beginning of that stage, yeah.
He's so mad as a...
Yeah.
Again?
You have to get through any rooms that you clear. And the rooms, I say rooms, it's not like a single screen room. There's things coming at you. One of the things you can do in that game that is different from a lot of other shmups is you can actually touch the ceiling and the floor. When you're in the air, you move a little bit faster, but you can walk along the floor. It's slower, but sometimes it makes it easier to hit things that are on the ground.
So that one causes you to start over. I had reached out to Snugglegun because I know he's into shmups and bullet hells, and he mentioned I threw a couple of other tracks that he suggested on the playlist playing in the background right now. He mentioned it. There's one called Black Label where their B-side tracks of certain songs will play when you're on like a hidden route that unlocks like during a second loop of the game. So that's pretty cool. Little touches like that. Like it's like the same song but with like some slightly different instruments or maybe a different key or something like that.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
You mentioning loops, that reminded me of something I was going to say about the first Gradius. Going for the world record, the reason it gets boring is because after you beat it the fourth time, or after you beat it the third time, the game doesn't get any harder. Like it increases in difficulty 3 times, and every other loop after that is just the hardest difficulty.
So it just keeps looping though every time you beat it?
Yeah, after you beat it, it goes back to the beginning of the game, you lose all your power-ups, and you have to go through it again. I did find out there's 6 or 7 unique congratulations messages for beating it, which I find interesting because it doesn't get any harder, but they still keep giving you better congratulations messages.
A winner is you. Oh wait, that's pro wrestling, my bad.
In the Play Choice 10, it gives you it's Japanese words written in English as your congratulations. And then the last one, it just finally says, "You are super player."
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember hearing that before. Yeah.
And it just repeats
Awesome.
that every time after that.
I mean, you are though. At that point, you are super player, so you deserve to see it again.
Well, it's weird because the final bosses in Gradius, you technically don't have to fight them. They, like in the first Gradius, the final boss in Gradius doesn't do anything. You don't have to shoot it. You fly into its room. It stops in the room for a minute, and then you fly out of the room, and it's over. And then it explodes.
Pacifist run.
In Gradius 3, oh my god, I would be very interested to see anybody do a pacifist run where you only kill the bosses. Because it's only the final boss that you don't have to kill. But in Gradius 3, the final boss, you can shoot it to get out of it faster. But it eventually kills itself too, if you don't fire at it. One of the other things Gradius likes to do in one of its final stages is there'll be a doorway into the final boss room, and it'll close like when the door is barely on the screen. Like you got to go up to the front of the screen and quickly go through it. And if you've played Gradius 5, you've probably seen it. Because it happens in the first stage in Gradius 5 when you meet the time traveler version of you and you gotta go through the room really quickly. I noticed in that game actually records what you do the first time you go through it and plays it back when you reach that stage again at the end of the game.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a cool touch.
Just neat little thing, like because the first time I saw it, I was like, I wonder if that's what I actually did. So I just did some silly things like flying in a circle, and it actually did it. I was very surprised.
That's really cool.
I was thinking for track number 2, section Z.
Oh, you're done with your Sky Cursor one there?
I think so. I mean, there's not much more it can do.
Yeah, it looks good.
I mean, I would totally be Section Z guy.
Yeah, that's again.
One of the songs, something right now, 19.
By the way.
Yeah, they put that on all their box art back then.
Yeah, that's very old school Capcom right there.
Yeah.
1 megabit of memory.
High res, man.
So 1943 is playing right now. I don't know if any of you ever played the NES version of that.
No, I played the arcade version. I know I've played the arcade version of that one.
So the NES version, you can power up your ship, but it doesn't happen as fast as, like, say, Gradius or one of the other things. Usually every couple of levels, there's like a hidden thing you can shoot, and it allows you to buy a point towards upgrading a part of your ship. Either holding more fuel or holding more ammunition or powering up your defense or offense, things like that. It was a lot of like it's as you guys can't hear, but as the stream can, it's got a very good soundtrack.
How was like, so how different is the game? Because I know like UN Squadron, like SNES and arcade versions are fairly different, at least in terms of the music for sure.
There's some changes to weaponry in 1943. One of the weapons in the NES version can destroy bullets. And I can't remember if the arcade version could do it too. If it could, I don't think that weapon was upgradable. In the NES version, so there's a weapon that shoots out 4 donuts basically the first time you collect the power-up, and it'll block bullets. The second time you collect the power-up, it adds a regular stream of forward shots to it as well. And maybe 2 more donuts? I don't remember. But it's a spread shot that can also destroy bullets. And it is by far the best weapon in the game.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like it'd be really good. And yeah.
And I still don't think I've ever beaten 1943.
Maybe you'll be inspired after this now.
Hey, maybe. It's definitely a fun game. I remember playing that one a lot more than 1942, because 1942 is very simplistic. That one, there was really only one weapon power up, and it took your bullets from being double fire to being quad fire. And it had that one song that played over and over that just went do 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 do, and it was just that over and over.
It's like burned into your brain now.
Yeah, I'll never forget that song. I'm trying to think of some other shmups that, like some of the Tiger Heli. Got an interesting story from that one, and
I remember that game.
My mom can corroborate this one because so there was a guy that lived across the street from us in Baton Rouge who he had a brain tumor, I think it was at one point. And he said he played a lot of Tiger Heli, and he got to a point he realized something was wrong when he started like seeing and hearing Tiger Heli stuff. Yeah.
Well, in that case, I've had things wrong with me in the past.
Oh, I'll definitely go to sleep. I'll close my eyes at the end of the day after playing a lot of Tetris and not be able to stop seeing Tetris scenarios.
How stoned are you guys when that happens?
Not at all. But no, Tiger Heli, I don't remember too much about the actual game itself. You were a helicopter and you shot other things as you were flying through the stage. I don't remember anything particularly special about it. I remember Legendary Wings a little bit more. And I put so there's a track from Section Z that I really want to go back to later, and a track from Legendary Wings. That both of them sound like they could have just been in a Mega Man game, which it's made by Capcom.
Yeah, it makes sense.
The Legendary Wings I remember was interesting because you had an overhead stage, and then I remember the first stage having like these giant faces on the ground, and you could fly into them, and then, if I recall, it was like a side view stage when you went into them. That was only in the NES version, because I think I remember going back and trying the arcade version. The arcade version didn't have that. That was one of the things I like about Capcom, is when they ported stuff to home consoles, they always added some kind of upgrade to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, did you see Josh says he can run the station so we can actually hear the music better? You want to do that?
Yes, if you would like to do that, that would be amazing.
Please do, yeah, because so we can...
We're absolutely okay with it reshuffling, just because we haven't heard any music.
Yeah, especially because we were mostly talking to Chris too for the first part. So.
Yeah. So
and wound up talking more about Castlevania music than shoot 'em up music, but hey, I'm always down for that.
Man.
Hopefully, he's still here to hear us saying, "Let's totally do that."
Yeah. Well, it's like, you know, we said with some songs, like they pop up like almost every week, or some games, because they're just like, they're timeless. They're a testament to like how good the music is.
I totally threw Silver Surfer music on here.
I saw that. Yeah. I guess that counts as a shoot 'em up. Yeah, it's not a very good one, but the music,
no,
yeah.
Games like Akari Warriors and Commando are totally shoot 'em ups. They definitely are.
The top down kind of.
Akari Warriors, I don't know, because it doesn't auto scroll. But I included
Commando doesn't either. But
I
but
included
it is
Gunsmoke because Gunsmoke does auto scroll.
Gotcha. Commando's creator is the same one who created Gyrus, a circle shooter, and what else did he do? He did a lot of those Konami ones. He may have done Scramble, if I'm not mistaken. So
there was a later.
So kiss his ass for the creation of Gradius, basically.
There was a later shooter that I remember in arcades where you were a helicopter and you could change directions. And remember what it was called?
I remember the SNES port. I think was it called Desert Strike or something like that?
I think that's that's what I'm thinking of. I think, Ian.
You're probably thinking of that. I'm definitely thinking of one. It was definitely a Japanese-made one, and I think it appeared on the Dreamcast as well.
Yeah, for sure. Desert one then.
Yeah, I definitely remember Desert Storm and all those. Pilot Wings had a shmup section, which I didn't even think of. I should have threw that on.
Oh yeah, the helicopter rescue or whatever.
Yes, whenever you upgrade your license enough, it's like, oh no, there's an emergency and you have to go out and save these people. Or
you guys aren't referring to Choplifter, are you? The arcade game?
No.
Okay.
Pilot Wings.
Okay.
Pilot Wings had a shmup section in it.
Yeah,
Alright,
game
he
does a
says he's
total
live.
180 in that last mission.
Let me just get this audio down.
Because when I looked up shmups, like one of the things that came up was Contra. I was like, dude, if this is on there, I need to put Snowfield on here. That's something I
That's more of a run and gun in my opinion.
Google.
Like,
Maybe.
Same
I'm not
vein
hearing
as
any audio
Metal
from
Slug.
Retrospect.
Quick,
Yeah, I'm not
Jeremy,
either.
start singing.
Let's see, it's a Thunder Force song. Oh, do 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 do
Yeah.
do do.
Oh, we got it.
Do 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 do.
Haven't had this much fun
do.
since
Come on,
the
Josh, you're
DuckTales
killing me
sing
here.
along.
Dude, that
I mean, I
mask works out great for that.
Right? I'm gonna change part of it.
Yeah, if only it were red, it'd be
Yeah,
perfect.
can you tweak the color?
Yeah. Can I tweak?
He's a professional.
I know.
I'm still not hearing any audio from Retrospect. I've
Yeah,
got
I think
it
he's messing with
playing
it.
and turned on.
Man,
I
that's
can
a
keep
pro
humming.
right there. Look at that.
Jeremy, Josh, let me know when you think you got it.
I hear it.
I certainly hear it. Kind of loud.
Let me turn that down.
There we go.
Perfect. Cool. Awesome. I did not play any of the Thunder Forces, but I do have a PC engine with an attachment that allows me to play CD games. So I should definitely go back and play some of these Thunder Force.
Dude, they're awesome games, and like I said, 3 and 4 have an outstanding soundtrack.
I just saw one of the panelists for tomorrow's game. That'll be awesome, Chris.
Yeah. A harder get than you might think.
Yeah.
Sexy Dynamite playing.
Had to put on my intro theme before I got in here.
Sexy Dynamite.
Yep.
I wonder. Okay. So, future of this show specifically, I wonder if there is a bot that we can have jump in every once in a while on Discord so everyone can hear.
Yeah, I'm gonna set. I mentioned I was gonna set that up.
But also, is there a way to show what's playing currently
on the bot?
Or some kind of way to show?
I mean,
song that's playing.
if Josh put like a little text on his screen.
Well, I heard a gorilla.
Well, I guess that's a little more difficult with YouTube, but.
Yeah, I think it depends on what it's playing through, and playing through like a YouTube browser might make it more complicated. Like it would have to be like a snip from a screen or something.
Yeah, I can set up different scenes for if it's like a request. I can set up a scene for if it's playing off the randomizer. I can work on that afterward.
I used to have an app that would capture information from music being played, or like the title being played on YouTube, but I don't know. See if I can find that.
Well, that'd be cool.
So yeah, this game, Sexy Dynamite, Show Anarchy, it's a muscle. You play as like a muscle-bound dude, and it's a shoot 'em up. And I don't even know how else to explain it. You just gotta look it up.
So I've actually played the PC Engine version of it, and I cannot that game is so you have different shots depending on the direction that you're moving.
Oh my gosh.
So sometimes you can shoot homing shots out of your head. You can shoot fairy dust in front of you. It's so weird. So the story is you're some goddess and you have these weird muscle-bound protectors that
naturally
have holes in the top of their heads that shoot things.
Her
It was all very, very promiscuous. There is an SNES fighting game series that we need to play at some time.
What, with these characters and the muscly belt?
Yes.
I'm in.
One of the characters sits in a half moon, and he's posing similar to Michelangelo's painting where it's God reaching out to a human, and the human's reaching back, and it's the human sitting like a half comet, half moon thing. It's such a weird fighting game.
mean,
it's
it
one
sounds
of the things that we
interesting
should definitely try on an SNES Jam if we play shows back, opens back up.
I'm down.
Yeah, I'll play that. Play the original game too.
Yeah, it's called Cho Aniki Bakuretsu Rantu Hin. It's an SNES fighting
Oh
game.
yes, my favorite.
I know how to spell that right away.
I'm actually a champion in that game. Underground circuits where you have to play like totally nude, like the characters basically are in there.
Yeah, like
The
half the
progress
characters
comes
in this games are just like people that are part ship and have other people standing on top of them. Yeah,
Sounds about right.
Awesome. Yeah.
so weird.
Sounds like there's an anime about it already, actually.
Has any Pop and Twin Bee music popped up on here yet?
Probably,
I-
we wouldn't know.
I like how you put it
that's
on
true.
Is
Yeah,
that that newer one, because I was gonna put old Twin Bee. I was like, wait, there's another Twin Bee I've never seen, so I just started listening to music.
There's a lot of
Very
Twin Bee
French.
games.
yeah. There's a Twin Bee that's like a side scroller instead of that shoot 'em up style.
This would be it.
I'm pretty sure there's like a platformer Twin Bee.
Yeah, there is.
Oh, James.
And it's really weird. I'm not quite sure how they transitioned from that into making Poppin' a rhythm game franchise, but you know,
oh,
I'm not gonna complain. It's a pretty fun franchise.
yeah. Oh, it's awesome.
It should be section G.
The song
Oh my God, yes.
sounds awesome.
That is perfect.
Section Z anymore.
It's like Robot
that's a-
Ermac. Sector.
This is the song that I put on here, by the way. Has anyone ever played this game? It's
I have.
No, it sounds incredibly inspired
have-
by the Mega Man soundtrack.
It's got a four-player mode, doesn't it?
Yes, it was actually really fun. I remember playing it at a LAN party.
I don't think it had a.
was-
I don't think it has online though.
No, this is
This came out. This is old. This is like 2007-ish.
Dang.
I remember playing this in college.
Yeah, I remember you can like upgrade your ships, I think, or you can have different kinds of ships. I always like any game that you can play differently via different
Yeah.
character or via different mechanic or whatever. Which is why I kind of like the two games I mentioned, which is like multiplayer. You can pick different
As-
types of styles of characters.
I was very wrong. It's 2011,
Oh no way!
but it's definitely one of the early. Yeah, at least according to Steam.
okay.
The
'cause I
initial
remember
release date June 8th, 2011.
I'm digging the soundtrack.
20s.
It's super fun. It actually kind of reminded me a lot of Tyrion 2000, which is a track I also put one of those tracks on here. That was a DOS shmup from way back in the day.
I really
This
like the
is this game-
soundtrack so far.
This song in particular though is not part of the actual game. It's like a hidden track kind of thing. But
Mhm.
the game itself, it was a weird. It was set during what, early 1900s or something.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I was wondering if it was about the Jamestown
Mhm.
colony. That
It is.
But I'm looking at the gameplay. And I'm just like, things were kind of lit back then. What happened?
Yeah. History changed.
Yeah.
Pretty much what happened.
I touched on it earlier, and I completely spaced on this game, so I didn't add any tracks from it. But have any of you ever played Giga Wing or Giga Wing 2?
I did not. I didn't play a whole lot of shoot 'em ups actually.
The first Giga Wing is actually CPS2 hardware. The second one is Dreamcast era.
Neat.
It included a fun mechanic where you have to tap to shoot as you normally would. Some of them allow you to hold, but if you hold the shoot button, you generate a shield around you that absorbs every bullet and sends it back at your enemies.
I have played
Oh,
that.
flame.
Yeah.
And I'm reminded of it because Jamestown also appears to have a shield that blocks bullets in a similar fashion.
I think one of the ships does that.
Oh boy.
Poland.
Oh, baby.
Get those sour pleas ready.
Is this the fourth week we've heard this track?
Probably.
Next week will be the fifth.
I ask as the person who added it.
Hey man, it's
I
the
should add
mercy
that
of the
guy as many
randomizer.
times as I can. You know what? I wonder, does he have new music? Like, you think he ever went on to just
He
music,
did.
music, like-
No, I actually looked him up, and he did some recent games. They were interactive games. Because we looked him up last week.
Of course we did.
But he doesn't appear to have tweeted anything in a few years.
Yeah, I think he's pretty quiet just overall.
Oh man, let's get him on the show.
It comes out of his hermit hole just to do VGM ones.
It would be amazing. Put us on the map is what it would do.
I want him to teach me his ways, making music.
Well, yeah, but if you get his luck though and get like saddled with a crappy game.
That's all right, man. I would take that curse if it meant I could make bangers like this.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad thing. Like people know the games are bad, but they like know his name because of the music. So it's that bad of a trade-off.
Oh yeah, Snugglegun says the best part of Gigawing is the ridiculous score that goes into quintillions. Yeah, every enemy is worth like 1 billion points.
That's awesome.
Could never
That's what I'm
score
talking
too high.
about. I want points that go into 100 billions on one enemy. Step on a Goomba, 100 million points.
I don't think the CPS2 version was, but the Dreamcast version was definitely 4 players. Which I don't think I've ever played it 4 players, but I would love to see how hectic that
A
gets.
shoot 'em up 4-player?
Yeah.
Jamestown
That-
is shooting a 4-player.
Yeah, it is.
That is crazy. I know there's a co-op one, and I forgot to look it up, but Snowgun's here, so we might know. And I mentioned it last week. It's like a Japanese one. It's a top-down shooter, but you're just walking along with like crazy energy and stuff like that. And you have like a spirit that kind of floats around you and helps you shoot. And it's an insane one. Like the first boss is like a giant zombie spider baby. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, he did name this a few weeks ago, I think, and now I can't remember the
did.
name.
Did we put it on the list?
It's not on the OST because I don't remember the name of it, or it's not on the soundtrack list because I don't remember the name.
I mean, can we just call it the VGM Wednesday OST?
Yeah, yeah, we will.
Or would it be like a movie arranged soundtrack to VGM?
Yeah, I guess that's probably the.
VGM Wednesdays, the
I must
podcast,
have
the
been-
game, the movie, the soundtrack.
Arranged
Yes.
edition.
If somebody wants to make a game about us,
Yeah.
God, the shittiest.
you have
ever.
my permission right now.
It's just.
I mean, there's a
me and
PewDiePie
guest
game, why-
Oh
photoshopping
god.
things.
There's an AVGN game, but it's actually really good. And the soundtrack is stellar. Yeah, it's actually a pretty good video game. It's hard. It's kind of a novelty, but it's well put together. It's fun platforming with hard bosses, and the soundtrack's really good.
Hmm. I've never actually played it.
Nine-hander.
Yeah, this is a PS1 demo disc.
Classic.
Yeah, I remember booting this one up, just like, wow, this game is awesome looking, but never really playing the actual release or anything.
I owned it I actually still have the disc. I don't remember what happened to the case, but I own the game, and it's super fun.
Yeah,
If you've never played the full version, you absolutely should.
yeah, I remember having a lot of fun with it. Just, I guess it's a mech that you are, or something like that. A police mech.
There's a story behind the name. Your ship has an arm that can equip different weapons.
That's right.
So Einhander, one-handed, even though one of the ships I think has 2 arms.
Details.
But you could flip the arm, and if either above or below you.
That's right.
Yeah,
I can't remember if above was a different weapon or if you just moved the weapon up to the top. I think it
don't
depended on
remember
what
that,
ship
but I remember,
you
yeah,
were.
you can shift the weapon around.
Yeah. But I just liked getting the blade and shifting the arm around and slicing everything with the blade.
Man, Jerry, that's a cool robot uniform you got going there.
Yeah, it is.
Have you just replaced your whole body with that, or is that?
Yeah.
just-
No, I'm kind of I'm mechanized now.
Yeah, let me get the rest of this G out.
This Thunder Force 4 soundtrack was so good.
Yeah, every Thunder Force song is just a certified banger.
don't know, it's just
This game had 2 different soundtracks, right? It had a CD audio quality one and then the 16-bit one.
I think it has an arranged version, yeah, but man, you can't beat the originals.
So, this was the game Chris was trying to play a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, Sexy
Paradise.
Paradise.
Yeah.
I think I added this just because, like, what was that ridiculous game that Chris was playing?
Yeah, I think I added a track or 2 from this as well. It's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Konami had a penchant for doing weird spin-offs of their main series.
Yeah, this is probably one of their most well-known weird spin.
Yeah, so the original story was like, it was Parodius Octopus Saves the World.
Okay.
Which is totally normal.
And so by Sexy Parodius, all these people are coming to the octopus for help with problems, and he's sending out whichever character you pick to play as to go deal with the problem.
Naturally.
Oh, there's too many flying bathing ladies in this area. You got to go deal with it, octopus.
Okay, I'm on it.
Oh no, a giant ear of corn is destroying my farmlands. Go deal with it, octopus.
I don't remember the soundtrack to it, so I didn't add any, but do you remember Harmful Park? That was for the PS1, and it's a shoot 'em up. Also, just basically with food stuff and a bunch of stuff like that. And the story is legitimately you're just in a park that's extremely dangerous.
I feel like the PlayStation 1 era, I fell off a lot of shmups. I didn't really play a lot in that one. I remember like Aero Fighters on the N64, and that's about it.
Hey Josh, do you remember Aegis Wing on the 360, the free shoot 'em up that
Oh
came out?
yeah.
God, yes, I remember that.
So I was asking Josh because I remember we were staying up all night waiting for the Halo 3 beta to start, and it didn't start. So me, him, and our friend Robbie downloaded it, and we played. I think we finished it, didn't we? We co-opted it, and then the beta still wasn't up, and we hadn't been to sleep yet. It was like 9 in the morning, so we met up with him at Denny's.
Yeah, I remember that. I convinced my mom to let me stay home for the Halo 3 beta, and it didn't work that day, so I got screwed.
So instead, we played Aegis Wing, and then ate crappy food at 9 in the morning after getting no sleep. That's what I always equate Aegis Wing with. Actually, it was IHOP. I equate it with IHOP and the Halo 3 beta, not.
So that's a fighting game story for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, yeah, IHOP, Denny's, anything like that, Waffle House. Oh yeah, this is Exceed Third. This is one of the games that Snuggle Guns told me to add. It's like a metal style soundtrack that goes.
It's really good.
And it's shredding.
Reminds me kind of a little bit of Guilty Gear music.
A little bit, I think.
Or the Korean Guilty Gear OST, it kind of reminds me of.
Yeah. That's actually does kind of remind me of that. These games are actually on Steam, and apparently they're pretty decent ports too. So. The Exceed 1 through 3 games.
Steam actually, from what I understand, has a decent selection of bullet hell games.
Yeah, I hadn't really looked, and then I looked when he told me about this game just to see like what is available on, and yeah, there's a pretty decent amount of like the smaller, little known shoot 'em up games on.
Yeah, a lot of the Japanese.
Pick up that game he talked about. The I forgot the name already. It's the
Must not be that good.
no, something Mega Gun. I just looked it up. Come on, history. Save me here. Rival Mega Gun. Saving it. Okay.
Treasure Master.
Friday, while I have everyone here, Friday, Treasure Master run, race.
Oh yeah,
thing,
oh yeah, I'm in.
Blind race.
Oh yeah, 100%.
As soon as Chris leaves, we will get lost in a game where Josh
Well,
is weird.
You say 100%?
Maybe not. Maybe yes. We're gonna beat that game.
I'm
we're
gonna try not-
We're
yeah.
gonna use the code that adds the secret world to the end of it too.
Oh, we are? Is that even a thing?
Oh yeah. Well, you
See,
use the
that's
secret
how
code
little
that
I
makes you
know.
play through the whole game, and then you have to beat the secret world too. We're gonna call up MTV and tell them we beat your game.
Oh, that's what
We're
it is.
just
okay,
like-
for the prize or whatever. Gotcha. Okay.
We're just like 25 years late. can we still have?
I don't
fun?
see a time limit. Like, show me where it says that I can't claim it still.
Well, there was a time limit.
Well,
We're gonna
Tell
call
him
it
to show
20
me.
TV.
You had
Ask him if
24
Jesse Camp
hours.
is okay.
Well, hey, Corey's a lawyer. Maybe he can fight for us on it.
that's true. Find a loophole somewhere.
Yeah. What do you think about it? Is Chris still there? Chris, can
Yes.
you get us on the line?
With who?
We're gonna try to earn the MTV prize from Treasure Master on Friday. Can Corey find a loophole in the contract for us to win? Like,
Ooh, yeah. Well, he'll be.
I mean, I'll take a full Super Nintendo system with a 55-inch screen TV.
Let's table this question for Thursday at 8 p.m. when we have Corey around.
write it down. I'll do it seriously.
He's gonna just
by
get
the way-
blindsided by that question and have no idea how to respond.
He's gonna be
to it.
thankful to be blindsided by that question and not when will free play get this game or when is free play my bedroom opening.
Can I rent a machine?
So one of the things we haven't really talked about yet was VGGP, the Video Game Grand Prix. That's what we're going to be running Treasure Master under.
Oh gosh.
And back in the day, that was a little thing that I put together with some friends and I, where we would shoot wrestling-style promos.
God.
Josh, let me borrow the orange vest if you're not going to be able to run it on Friday.
All right, come get it. I've been known to make a diss track to my brother here and there when we're about to.
It's true, yeah.
Yeah, we'd shoot like little wrestling-style promos calling each other out. And then we would put on a little show beforehand, show the promos, and then start playing the game.
That's pretty awesome, honestly.
Yeah. Obviously, we won't be able to do that Friday.
Well, I don't know.
But in the future, if we ever want to do that, and if
We all have crappy
you can
cameras.
throw some videos together before Friday, we will absolutely play them before we run.
Quick, terrible videos are my specialty.
We saw
As you can tell, yeah, by that.
Track number 2.
Yeah.
Hey, quarantine has us doing weird things, man. All right.
What are you talking
But
about?
yes.
That kid just came to my house. That wasn't me.
New radius, by the way. Select screen.
But yeah, I thought, yeah, this is stage 1. Yeah, once you go into the planet. This game had such great music. It's so catchy too.
Definitely sounds like old Konami.
Yeah.
Both their sound,
Oh,
like both 8 and 16-bit, was very distinct.
And I see coming up is another sexy Proteus track, the Vic Viper and Lord's British theme.
Yeah, just it heard us talking. It was just preparing itself.
So yeah, I thought the Treasure Master race would be a great time to kind of try and revive VGGP under free play.
Well, I mean, I've already agreed to run it, unfortunately, so I guess I'm part of it now. So just...
Do we want to? Josh Featherstone helped me set up some graphics for it, and I've set up the scenes. Do we want to kind of preview that real quick to see what people are gonna see, or should we
go
wait
for
till Friday? Yeah, we'll throw it over to the 4-player.
Get hella Sega Sonic vibes from it.
That's it. We got a complete moving background.
Ooh.
Oops, hold
We'll
on.
have each of our screens right here under where the players are. And if you want to include a webcam, we've got space for doing that as well.
Wow. Okay.
So
Dang. All right. That's already all
Nobody
set
wants
up.
to see my
Yeah.
face.
How does one do that, by the way? If I was supposed to send you webcam stuff, am I just streaming?
You would just put it over your stream and I'd capture it separately from your game screen.
Gotcha.
So
My stream is so behind. Let me-
super huge thanks to Josh Featherstone for helping me update those VGGP graphics and making the background, the animated background for us.
Yeah, he's
Shout
incredible.
out to that guy always
He
being
even
ready
gave
to
me
help.
he even gave me like specs for exact positioning for every window and everything. So super easy to set up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We still need him to jump onto one of these random. I would love to do like a full
Yes, I would love to have him on a
Collaboration track.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he plays the drums. He does.
Plays guitar too.
design work. Yeah, dude's awesome. He needs to be in here. I'm sure he'd have some fun VGM tracks for us to take a
For
picture.
sure.
I'll reach out to him and I'll ask him what kind of theme he wants to do.
So I guess, Chris, you're there, right?
Yes.
So I know you kind of chimed in on Sky Cursor and whatnot. What do you think of the shmup genre? Like, do you play anything? Do you have any?
I'm not a huge. I don't play a lot of bullet hell games, as you guys were talking about. Like I don't know if I ever really played Ikaruga, but I very much enjoy. I don't know, Thunder Force, Gradius as well. I played. I believe I've beaten Gradius 1, 3, and 4. Life Force is Gradius 2. You know, they are in the same vein as Space Invaders and Galaga and King and Balloon, and like there's a very clear lineage there. And I definitely played a lot of the like 16-bit era games. I love Sky Cursor. At some point, it lost me in the sheer amount of memorization that needed to happen. This is definitely a banger plan.
Thunder Force.
You turned it down just a little bit.
Tiger Heli, not a fan. Like I played it back in the day, it was a thing, but it just, I don't know, it's too easy, to be honest with you. Like it repeated itself really quickly. It wasn't the bliss of like an R-Type or a Gradius. So I enjoy them quite a bit. I really like the things that Gradius does, where you get to buy power-ups. Thunder Force has a similar mechanic. So yeah, I'm a fan of the genre. I don't get to, because it's not typically a game that you play with multiple players, even though it is something that could support that. I don't spend a lot of time with it, even though I would like to.
Yeah, I think, especially after going through some of the soundtracks this week and talking to Snuggle Guns a little bit here and there, and seeing that there's actually some that are on Steam that are pretty cheap that you can pick up. Like, I'm actually kind of interested in picking up a few and getting my ass kicked and maybe learning a little bit about the genre itself.
Oh,
because I'm not doing anything else.
Shout outs to Raiden, 1942, 1943, like those style shoot 'em ups as well.
I just remembered a little bit of fun trivia about Section Z. The character you play as is Captain Commando.
Nice.
Oh no, that ain't had the Commando on the cover there.
Mm-hmm.
He's not partnered up with Sentinel and Cable.
Where's the baby?
Actually, a lot of Capcom's early games starred Captain Commando. That was their featured character.
I'm gonna need to know the title of this track, by the way.
Capcom.
You're gonna need what, Ian?
The title of this track, so I can keep it in mind.
Metal Squad, Thunder Force 4.
4.
Dude, just listen to the whole Thunder Force 4
Yeah, listen to the entire thing.
It's one of my favorite soundtracks.
Maybe not all at the same time, though, because it might melt your brain from how
you
good it
need
is.
breaks in between tracks.
Yeah. Just drenched in sweat from listening to the soundtrack.
Get my workout, just listen to music.
Trying to incorporate Mike into this picture, or are you playing with it?
So, as another bonus extra track, since we've got until 3, that's right.
I guess.
I still wanted to make the Mike B gig poster. Or whatever he does his DJ gig stuff. For those who don't know, Mike does a DJ thing, DJ set, I guess so far every Saturday, the past 2 Saturdays. Something that you can listen on Discord. Just jump into Club Mike B. And I figure, and to have like some kind of poster. And as much as I did want to do the Houston Rockets thing, I think finding like a cool looking gig poster would be cool also.
Hey Chris.
Yes.
What team do you say his Sagat supports all the time?
New York Giants, Eli Manning, because he has the dumb face at the end.
Can we put him on New York Giants player?
I can do New York Giants colors.
I don't know. It's tough because it's all about that dumb face. You know what I'm talking about, Jeremy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like if you Google dumb face Eli Manning, really,
or just Eli Manning face.
Alright, Eli Manning face.
And then think about like Osagot timing out.
Perfect.
And it really is like the same. So maybe like Beltran and Dumbface, like it needs to be Eli Manning's face over the top of Sagat.
I was just about to say,
that's
yes.
the thing. But if he's like arm in arm with Beltran, then that makes sense.
Hold on, I have ideas. I got plans.
The gears are spinning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nothing inspires quite like Eli Manning's dumb face.
I wish my face looked like that.
No, you don't.
Yeah, do you really?
Yes. It'd be an improvement.
That's true.
Man, this show is taking a turn for the better.
Don't worry. I hate these like web GP. It's like, you know what? I can still screen cap you. Why you?
By the way, my favorite matches with Beltran are as the clock is ticking down. It's like 15 seconds left. Dalsum's got about a 75% life lead, but I'm just zoning him out forever. And I hear him yelling, "No! No!" And he starts rushing in, trying to get knocked out so that he doesn't get the dumb face.
Come on, kill me! Do it!
Do it now! Kill me!
Yeah, it's probably the best timeout pose in the
Best / worst. Yes.
worst if you're a Sagat player, but best if you're, you know.
Dictator looks like a bald bull suddenly. He's got a big nose. And
I can't recall many of them, honestly. I don't believe in timeouts.
yeah, you're not a Dalsum player. You can stay over there.
What? You've never been sent to the corner?
Kindly stay over there.
Oh, but I'm either gonna die or I'm gonna win. There's no getting timed out.
How are we gonna do this?
Good Feilong mentality, always go in.
Yeah. If Josh hasn't ended the round before Carlos has the opportunity to throw a tap 6, then he's doing it wrong.
So I think what you could do with this image is leave that as it is, and then just put the information about Mike B's DJ set.
Welcome to Club Mike B. Man, that's, you know what? Hold on. Version 1.0, sure.
Man, this song kicks ass.
Yeah, it's just going in. It's not even sorry about it either. It's just going directly in.
Makes no
Yeah.
apology.
I was looking through the list. I don't think anybody put R-Type on there.
I mentioned
I
it.
know I didn't, because I was trying to stick to games I'd actually played. So I'd have something
I
to say
listened
about
to
it when it came up.
Some of the songs aren't that great. There's like a weird old SNES sound to it that's not as cool as like Thunder Force and I don't know. It's not as thumping.
Thunder Force my jam. Like that's the one that wins for me. So I feel you.
What is this?
R-Type was one of those things I just kind of played in passing. Like I've never really played the series, so I don't even remember much about it, to be honest. I own the PS2 one. I know but I don't think I ever actually played it because I bought it on sale during like an old Toys R Us sale.
This is from
I
that
remember-
Harmful Park game I was talking about.
I remember buying the Gradius 3 and 4 collection for PS2 and being extremely disappointed they were the arcade versions. Because I only had experience with the Super Nintendo version.
Gradius 5 was awesome, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All of I don't think I've ever played Gradius that I didn't like, to be honest. I was disappointed with that collection at first, but like it grew on me.
I just had to get used to it. What you were used to.
Oh yeah, because all the power-ups were different in the arcade version. He didn't have E-Laser. Reduce didn't actually perform as a shield, it only just made your ship smaller.
I mean, the power up ain't lying though.
No, it's not.
Hey, did Mike set a time that he's normally?
It's usually around like 11, I think, when he
11
starts.
PM?
You should probably just put like Saturday nights, just in case, since he's like, he usually does it whenever he feels like.
Yeah, he messaged me at 10:30. He's like, "Hey, I think I'm gonna do a sound check to do a DJ set." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, he doesn't promote it, so he had a low turnout and didn't actually, like, he didn't go on into 3 a.m. like he did the previous time, and I felt horrible about it because I was listening in the car, and then I didn't get a chance to hear the end of it, and I didn't get a chance to promote it. I'm super busy, so I thought, like, maybe if we could include some sort of interactivity, like we can have whatever song, but he's playing on the stream, like at least displayed, hey, Club Mike B's playing this song.
Hey, Ian.
I think it's just a promotion thing. Like, there's not enough promotion right away. What's up?
Hey, Ian, can you switch that to say Saturday?
How many R's? You're talking about 3?
How many you got?
Saturday nights.
How many R's are in Tiger?
Too many.
That's gonna come up actually. Hold on.
Never actually played this, Josh. Did you play it?
No, I haven't. I've just seen a lot about it. I've got some of the gameplay up on the. Yeah, it's a PlayStation game.
Looks good.
Yeah, it looks pretty fun, honestly.
There was a Now to Love game. Was the first one of those a shmup, or was it just more like run?
Not sure.
I know that developer did shmup at one point. I just can't remember if it was one of the Now to Love.
Still an
Also, I
interesting
can't remember if
weapon.
that's the actual name.
This weapon looks really good for a shoot 'em up style side scroller like this.
Could I ask what colors the New York
Blue and red.
is he on? Blue and red? Why am I asking? New York.
You have the entire internet
Noe
at your
2
fingertips.
Loves, which is the second one's definitely like a Mega Man style game. I highly recommend. But I don't remember if the first one was a shmup. The second one was kind of like a cross between Mega Man and Bullet Hell. It's interesting.
That sounds interesting.
What is this? Zenese?
Xerxes is the best way I can think of how to pronounce it.
Sexy's Dynamite?
This game it's an interesting game. It's half platformer, half shmup. And you start the stage as a platformer, and then you reach a point where you hop on like there's two different shmup parts. There's part where you hop in a ship, and there's another part where you hop on almost like a surfboard kind of thing.
Be right back, boys.
I don't think I've ever heard of it.
All run and gun. Okay. So for the uninformed, a shmup is a shoot 'em up. They usually are auto-scrolling, but there are non-auto-scrolling as well. You're usually flying around, shooting everything, and dodging bullets, and that's the easiest way to explain what a shmup is.
Think of a shoot 'em up like Gradius, right? Like you're a ship you're side scrolling, or Ikaruga where you're going down to up. Compare that to Metal Slug or Contra where you're running.
You've got jumping mechanics. You control the pace of the screen usually.
Go ahead.
I should have put the Kirby Superstar part where you have to go inside the core of that giant thing in the Milky Way Wishes, because that's technically a shoot 'em up
there
section.
you go. Yeah. Kirby Superstar truly had something for everyone.
Dude, that game is incredible. I can 100% that co-op with yeah.
So another interesting bit about Xerxes, as it relates to me, the first time I played it was at the first PAX South. And it was probably the most fun I had at PAX South.
I don't think I've ever even heard of it.
Me neither, until then.
Was it just in the bring your own console section? Like somebody just had it down?
Yeah, it was in the console library. And I checked it out. I was like, Xerxes, I've never heard of this game. I want to try it. And it turned out to be an incredibly fun. Can't remember if I beat it at PAX or if I got pretty far, but I don't think I beat it until I played it again.
Hudson Soft? Oh, yeah.
Definitely
Got a
be
sweet
down for
soundtrack.
doing a VGGP around that, though. Although I guess I'd have an advantage.
Oh, well. Sometimes it'll happen. It's unavoidable.
The thing with VGGP that I originally planned was, and hang on, let me turn this down a little bit.
I'll turn it up.
Another banger.
Yeah, this is good.
I went the wrong direction, too far. Okay, anyway. My thing with VGGP is I didn't want it to be two speedrunners playing against each other. I wanted it to be people who had either never played the game or had only casually played the game. Because to me, that was more interesting for some reason.
That's
Yeah,
a good blend.
I know nothing about Treasure Master other than the way the dude
me neither.
walks, so...
The only thing I know about Treasure Master is the story behind it and what we saw last week.
I'm pretty sure I've seen the AVGN episode, but it's been so many years that I don't remember that much.
So I'm really looking forward to playing through it Friday.
It ought to be interesting.
But with some of the games that we had already played under VGGP back in the day, we played through Wampum, having neither of us had ever even heard of the game. And we were like, hey, this looks interesting. And I was looking for Mega Man style games. We should totally play this. So we did. I think the translation, the English I love the lens flare. The English translation for Kid Dracula had just came out, so we played through that as well, both having never played it. We did Little Nemo and the Dream Master, which I only vaguely recall playing.
That game's good.
It really is.
It's also got a good soundtrack, too. Old
Maybe that's
Capcom
another
game.
one. That's another one we should add to the list of playing again.
Oh, man, more Thunder Force.
I can't handle it.
I know we did
You know,
one
I'm
more.
gonna
I
leave
can't remember
I'm
what it
gonna
was
leave
now.
Crappy looking actually. Yeah.
We should totally advertise VGGP on the free play Reddit. Make sure people
Yeah,
turn out
Reddit.
Friday night to come. Or I'm sorry, on the free play Facebook. If we don't have a Reddit,
Soon to come.
We
Free play
should.
Reddit.
Right, version 1.
Perfect.
So, one of the things that I've been doing is I've got that subreddit called Game Tunes, and every now and then I'll just throw a track on it. So if any of you guys ever find like a banging video game track and want to put it up there, feel free to do so.
All
That's-
the temple
Yeah, a tall order, man. That's all my brain is full of is just video game bangers. Nothing else.
You think Mike's going to enjoy using that? You should print that out for him, too. Let's frame it.
Oh,
for
he's
him.
gonna love it for sure.
I absolutely love what you've done here.
The lens flare, yeah, is a very nice touch.
My favorite part is the awful crop.
Yeah, that's great, too, yeah. It's just a masterpiece altogether.
Hold on, I'm sure there's some other terrible. What else can we do? Blur? Maybe something else to make it.
Do you like a motion blur or something happening, like a Dalsum arm going past them in the background?
No, that'd be making it too good. What a crappy. Like when I first saw Photoshop for the first time, like, oh wait, I can do this.
Oh, this is one of the tracks that Chris Cruz sent over. Added to the list. Did you hear any of that interview, Josh, or were you still in the middle of
Nah,
your thing?
man, I was extremely busy pretty much all morning. I'm gonna go back and listen to it though. I'm kind of bummed I missed it.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Very
He actually said that he didn't want to talk to you though. One Withers is enough. So
Oh, I can't say I blame him.
Oh, okay, here we go.
Who's our? Do we have another special guest coming up?
I know there's some irons in the fire, but I'm not sure if anything.
I know Tommy Tallarico responded. Just there it is.
Jeez.
Somehow you can still tell it's Eli.
This looks like middle school me, like playing with all the stuff you can do in
Right?
Photoshop
Yeah.
for the very first.
There it is. Can you
Like a
increase Beltran's head size too?
Yeah, big head mode.
um,
He does like NBA Jam, so you know, it's fitting.
I remember Penelope was like, "Why is your neck so thick?" Like in in one of the Mike News things where we just photoshopped him. We should just like, where in the world is Mike Beltran from now on, and just like start putting him in different parts of the world, parts of That way we can find out on Mike
Yes,
News.
hello, Moosh. Sorry, my cat's going nuts.
So, hey Josh,
That-
you still need to add me as a friend on Discord so I can get you in a group chat.
Is there a dude?
I sent you a friend request like 2 weeks ago or last week or something.
Yeah, I don't use Discord too much. Let me find where this bad boy. Oh, here it is. All right, done.
Because the guest that we were supposed to have last week that I think we'll have next week, I was in a group chat with him, and he says that he's able to make next.
Okay, cool.
So just a reminder, who is he and what's going to be our theme then?
So, sorry, hang on a sec. I gotta respond to work thing real quick, and then I will explain.
I'm on pins and needles.
Quick, fill the air. Video games.
They have music, right?
Video game music.
Okay, so sorry. I'm okay. I'm sorry about
Guitars,
that.
right?
So it is Andrew Thompson. He is the creator of the Orchestral Fantasy YouTube. He takes a lot of video game music and re-records it using real instruments and real people, and they always turn out fantastic. I've never not liked one of the videos that he's put. And one of the things that I really like about it is he stays really close to the source material. So it reminds me of that Secret of Mana Regenesis album that came out a couple years ago, where it was a remastered version of the Secret of Mana soundtrack, but it was still the original songs without playing with them too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can definitely lose touch in situations like that, which isn't, necessarily a bad thing, but it is awesome to hear that he's the stuff he puts out is very close to the material, the source material.
So I guess that would make our theme next week is orchestral music or orchestral covers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both really.
Get ready for more Chrono Trigger.
I think we've already started on that one, right?
Yeah. Did we start making? I don't know if we made.
Orchestral covers, is that what you said?
Orchestral music or covers, either way.
Ooh.
From video games, yeah.
Get to hear the cut
There's
man
gonna be a lot
sonata.
of. There's gonna be.
By the way, Chris?
I'm hearing a lot of Castlevania Symphony of the Night and Chrono Trigger.
Yes.
Oh,
Shadow of the
I'm,
Colossus.
Yeah, I'm putting Shadow of the Colossus on there. Some Breath of the Wild, perhaps.
I'm going
There's
remix.
gotta be, like,
I'm giving you guys the cut man sonata.
Good Egg Galaxy.
Get some Zelda in there, some Breath of the Wild.
I just
I don't know why,
I
but
just
is
said
there like
that.
a funny game like Conker's Bad Fur Day that has some kind of like orchestral music, like during the poop scene or the
Yeah,
No,
it's
I mean,
called
well,
Soprano.
yeah, it's called Sloprano, so
Yeah, there you go.
well,
Gonna sneak that on the list, Josh.
I don't know if that's really. I mean, I guess it is orchestral, so
A symphony of smells.
You don't have to tell me. I mean, I'll put that on every playlist.
Wait, are we talking about the Conker's Bad Fur Day track?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wasn't
dude,
that
didn't
orchestral?
we say we were gonna sing that?
For its own episode?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we can do it next week, but I think we should absolutely put something together.
Let's see if our special guest wants to sing soprano with us.
We're
I
all
mean, it
gonna
is
sing
orchestral,
soprano.
right? He might be down. Get the choir on.
All right, but I want to be vocals.
Done.
Oh.
Alright. Did I cut? You know what? I
This
actually
track is
might use
funky.
the.
Yeah, I was to say it's got a little bit of groove to it.
Well, this was actually on the funky list last week. But since it's from a shmup, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna transfer this one.
Nothing wrong with that. It's gonna be a reoccurring common theme, I'm sure.
Oh, like I'd never heard
What
anything
great
from
mighty
this game before.
poos?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'd never played Down Gun before. When I heard this, I was like, damn, this is.
This would have been right at home in last week's theme.
It was. That's what I was saying. It was on last week's list.
Are you done there, Ian? That's it, right? That's the one.
I have a bonus track 3. You got 30 minutes. Let's see. Okay.
Yes.
I
you
just
sure?
like
That
it on
looks
its own
pretty good.
there. Yeah, just with a blank background.
Just in case.
I'm just kidding.
Just in case. Let's do something techno.
UN
Can you
Squadron.
find like a EDM DJ, poster or something?
I like the arcade soundtrack a lot, but I think I prefer the SNES one. Just
I do
personal.
too for UN Squadron. I do too. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're both really good, but
There's some that are really good in arcade, but yeah, definitely prefer the Super Nintendo soundtrack. I put some from. Also, I guess Noun's working right now, but he would definitely have a lighter up.
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't show up like as soon as it started playing, because he told me that every time he tunes into my station, like UN Squadron just happens to pop up.
It knows.
Yeah, or he
You know,
knows.
The weirdest, the craziest coincidence that happened with your station involved Normal of the Week one time. It had like literally just gone up and DJ's theme started playing. Like I shit you not. It was a DJ Normal of the Week too, and yeah, it just blew my mind.
I was playing the Messenger with the music on it turned down and just the station going, and I was playing through a certain part, and I got to a new area, and the station started playing its song while I was there. It kind of freaked me out for a sec. Well, not freaked me out, but like my brain didn't quite comprehend it. I was like, wait, I turned that off. What?
No, that would have freaked me out. I would have thought somebody was watching me or something.
Speaking of that game, man, I was trying to play that during like just a break time. I am not good at that game.
It takes a while to get back in the zen of things, man, but it feels so
Yeah.
good when you got good movement in it.
Like the
Which
first
one?
few
Which one
tries,
are we
I kept
talking about
getting
again? I
squished.
had to look away for a second.
The Messenger.
The Messenger.
Oh yeah.
I actually
The
really
DL
like running
the
through. Yeah, the
DLC
DLC was
was so
super
good.
fun. The DLC final boss. I don't want to ruin it for my brother here, but it was freaking awesome. I love the new game plus in that it just becomes harder each time you do it. Each time you do a new game plus.
I only have one complaint about that game, and it has to do with the advertising. Can you imagine if the time travel element would have been a surprise?
For me, it was because I never look up trailers or reviews or anything like that whenever I decide I want to play a game. So it just kind of like it. And then the second part where it opens up too, like I didn't know that either. So the game was a
man.
very, very pleasant surprise for me.
But the time traveling thing was totally. It wasn't a big surprise because you knew it was going to go back 8-bit, 16-bit. So it was just like, oh, that's probably like when they jump in
only
time.
because well, the 18-bit, 16-bit, like if they would have saved that and not had that in any of the trailers,
Oh yeah.
and just had it happen in the game, that would have been like one of my top 5 video game moments had I not known about it beforehand.
Yeah, it was pretty dope. Because I didn't know, like, I had kind of known that there was like a 16-bit. I figured it was maybe, you know, I don't know, maybe part 2 of the game, or maybe New Game Plus, it was a graphical pack. But then whenever it's explained, you know, via the story and the game mechanics, it was really, really damn cool.
Yeah, I'm still in the middle of that, playing through it.
Should beat it. It's good.
If you aren't already, and I really hope you are, talk to the shopkeep and try to annoy him every chance.
Oh,
you
I know.
get.
Yes.
Absolutely,
I've
yeah.
already done that, yeah, that's the first thing I did.
Yeah, I do think
Hilarious.
the humor kind of misses the mark sometimes for me. Like, I wish the game took itself just a little bit more seriously every now and then.
What?
But some of the shopkeep stories are really, really profound. Like, really good lessons or really good takes on old fairy tales, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, self-aware humor, breaking the fourth wall is pretty amusing, but I don't know. Sometimes it really killed the tension, you know, because of the weight on the main character's shoulders and stuff like that. So sometimes it would miss the mark for me. I appreciate it; it has good charm to it, but I kind of wish it took itself a little bit more seriously sometimes. That's my only gripe.
You just hate fun. It's
Yeah,
all
I
right.
just hate fun. I'm praising how
I
fun
mean-
the game is, and I hate it.
I mean, from minute one, the game is already being goofy. So, to me, it was just an extra joy that the shopkeep was amazingly goofy.
Yeah, the shopkeep I wouldn't mind being goofy just because of its character, but I don't know. I guess it's kind of hard to explain. Like, it would kind of take me out of certain moments because it was trying to be a little too goofy, I guess. But that's my only... It's a minor, small complaint. Otherwise, pretty much everything the shopkeeper says is incredible.
I should play through that again and then see if I can give you some sort of run for your money.
I mean, I'm not, like... I haven't really practiced any
I'm
kind of,
broken
like,
that
crazy
game,
speed
dude.
run, but...
I've only played through it the one time.
I've played it through it twice. One normal and then one New Game Plus. But I did want to learn the speed run to it just because of how good the movement is in that. Oh man, it's back.
It came up.
I didn't even mean for that to happen. Or did I? Oh, my theme song. Back again.
Gee, how did that happen?
I want this to play every time I walk in the free play.
Your funeral, too.
Yeah, my
Hey,
funeral.
Ian.
My walk-up
Hey, Ian,
song.
Would you like a still from the recording of the first Mike B's DJ set to put in the background?
Yeah, I can use one of those.
I think it's on the. Well, you don't have access to the drive, do you? I'll have to find some place to put it.
Promise not to delete anything. I mean, I have access to it via typing or copying things into Chris's machine.
Yeah, but that video is like 4 gigs in size, so
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how TeamViewer would like that.
Probably not. Alright. Trying to think of which one of these typefaces seems more like a Club Mike B.
I like
Definitely needs to
the last one, I think. Maybe that's a little too...
A little classy.
Yeah.
The next to last one has kind of a KO Street Fighter-ish feel to it.
Yeah.
That's true.
You could do. Let's do this as a thing.
2 different fonts?
And
That's just crazy.
No, it's too crazy.
that's the best. So here's the thing: when new designers and stuff try to choose 2 different things, 2 different colors, they sometimes don't take it too far enough. And that's like a thing I had to learn in like classes, was like, if you're gonna have 2 different things to show contrast, you make them 2 very different things. Otherwise,
Yeah.
too close. Like if I had this next to this typeface, it's still similar, as in, you know, they're not
Sorry.
you know, written out or handwritten.
Yeah.
I had to laugh at the end of that last track where it just ended on the sexy.
Oh yeah, just isolated by itself. That's the best way you could possibly have ended that track, though.
Absolutely.
There is no other way.
Yeah, I could see the guy, whoever composed it, just like, man, how do I end this? I'd end it with a boom shakalaka personally.
I was looking up the translation of Cho Aniki. It just translates to Super Big Brother.
Anakin, Big Brother.
Super Big Brother. Is that the sequel to the Jet Set Radio song? Super Brother?
That song is actually about the Mario Brothers. I didn't realize that.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And it's in a Sega game. Like the band even says Peach in it.
Yeah.
They're on their way to rescue Peach or whatever, and it was actually
That's Guitar Vader, right? Because I think I've listened to some of their other stuff. They've got some good stuff.
Really, the only two like bands like that I know are them and the Pillows.
Oh my god, I was just about to bring the Pillows up.
And of course, my introduction to them was through Fooly Cooley.
Oh yes. Right on, Shooting Star.
Yep.
So I had a chance to work on that, and I love like all the stuff that we came up with it. Like after sitting down and actually talking about what is this anime about? Because it's
What isn't that anime about?
How can you even explain it?
It is
Two
about,
sentences, go.
Oh, I can say it in one word.
Oh,
Puberty.
okay. Oh, you know what? That makes a lot of sense.
That's him going through puberty, and so like all the stuff that we came up with it was, I don't know. I guess how he felt. Like subtle hints of. I think the tagline that somebody came up with was like amazing. It's like you can't get her out of your head. It's like two different kinds of head.
Oh yeah.
And plus, she physically. When things physically come out of the dude's head, so I was all for it. So we made it all about we made it look like a news zine kind of thing. Very, I don't know, teenagery.
Yeah.
I was proud of it. I like that. I got to make like a gig poster and stuff for it too.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Like official promo stuff or?
Yeah, like an actual poster. Like the release, the home video release for it. We did like it was a.
I need to see those.
Gig.
It was like a season 2 and 3 that y'all did, right? I haven't seen those yet.
Yeah, alternative.
Season 2 was something Adult Swim bought, so it was all Adult Swim.
Yeah, it's all brand new, right? Yeah.
Yeah, all brand new, and it's like from a girl's perspective.
Oh, so season 2 doesn't have anything to do with the first one?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
No, I think there's. I haven't seen it, but I think there's certain characters that overlap. But yeah, I haven't watched the two new. But yeah, I think they only recently came out last year. I think.
Yeah, it's pretty new.
Are you trying to see if you can find your thing online?
Poster? Yeah, because like whenever we make like promo materials, it's usually stuff from like conventions and stuff. It's not something that we post up anywhere normally.
Someone might have scanned it though. It's got to exist somewhere on the internet.
Poster? FLC. These are just gonna be like images as opposed to the things that we've like done. I can always cheat.
I'm sorry, this Sky Cursor mock-up you did, Keaton is cracking me up.
Nice. No, I can't cheat.
Oh, you did Bebop stuff too?
Yeah.
Good man. Good man.
Yeah, good man.
I'm actually watching through Trigun right now. I've never actually watched all the way through.
Nice.
That was another favorite of mine back in the day. Like I watched that one around the time that Bebop started showing on Cartoon Network. And then they did Trigun after Bebop, didn't they? I don't remember.
Yeah, for whatever reason I never watched that all the way through Trigun, but I'm watching through it now and I recognize a lot of the stuff. I never actually watched it all the way through though, so I've been really enjoying it. I don't know why I didn't get hooked on it before because it's like right up my alley, like post-apocalyptic Western.
Yeah.
And Bebop's my favorite of all time. They're kind of got somewhat similar themes here and there. So yeah, I don't
The
know.
English,
Too cool for it back then.
English voice. The English voice actor for Vash actually did a really good job.
I'm watching through the sub right now.
Vash, who did this voice?
I don't know.
Is it?
Let me Google it. Oh, it was Johnny Young Bosch.
Yeah, I was about to say that's Johnny Young Bosch, isn't it?
It's Ryu, right?
No, that's Ryu
The voice
is
of-
Kyle Hebert.
Kyle?
He's Gohan.
Yeah. Johnny Young
Dude,
Bosch also does a voice. He does a voice of.
He does Zero. He's in a ton of
Yeah.
stuff.
He's in like Persona 3, 4, and 5.
He's Haruo in the High Score Girl dub, dub. That dude is in everything. And he used to be the Black Ranger.
He's Nero in Teppen. And in Devil May Cry 5.
That's right, yeah, he is. So what else has he been in?
Apparently he's an English voice in High Score Girl too.
I just said that. I literally just said that.
I wasn't paying attention to you as usual. It's alright, you did it to me earlier too, ass face, so we're even.
Did I?
Yeah.
You didn't call me out?
I did actually, you just weren't paying attention to that one either.
Sorry, I must have been reading something. Okay, not paying attention.
So, speaking of older animes, have any of you ever seen Golden Boy?
No.
Man, I'm terrible with watching animes and shows and movies, so there's a very high chance I haven't seen any of it.
Bar none, the best English voice acting I've ever seen in an anime was in Golden Boy.
Good or good ironically because it's bad and funny?
He embodied the Japanese character perfectly. He didn't. A lot of the older animes, you kind of feel like people are holding back when they're doing their voice acting. This guy held absolutely nothing back.
Nice.
Like he gave it his entire all. It's not an anime for the kids by any means, but if you ever get a chance to see it, watch the English version. It's hilarious. There's only 6 episodes, so it's a short series.
Oh, okay. That's more up my alley.
I think my favorite dub of all time is still Bebop.
Yeah, Brotherhood, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood has another really good dub.
Yes.
So does Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's better than the Japanese one, in my
It
opinion.
can go either way. There's better characters than others. It's watchable on both, in my
found it.
opinion.
Nah.
Yeah. Yeah, you like GT, so your opinion is invalid.
Super sucks. But we won't get into that right now. This is about shoot 'em ups and Club Mike B.
And this Gradius
What
3
might
music
be-
playing in the background.
Eli's face still staring at me.
No, I
Piercing
found
your
the
skull.
poster finally. We're good.
Oh, is that what you did?
Yeah. I was a big fan of the can't get it out of your head and then putting like a bandage on top of the word head.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that.
I wish I got it signed by somebody. But yeah, I had that poster lying around somewhere. I think I've framed it because it's like one of my favorite.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I'm trying to think of like another short anime. This one was easy to get into because 6 episodes, right?
Yeah.
Totally trying to think anything else short. As much as I worked on stuff, there wasn't very many that I liked watching. I liked watching like comedies and stuff. One of the ones that I remember really liking was like I have a poster of it too. Was like Lupin the Third, the movie. Was it?
Oh yeah.
No, it was the Fujiko one. The woman called Fujiko.
That had some good animation for its time, for what I know about it.
And it's been around forever too. That series.
Yeah, that series has. Oh, what was this song? Wait, this is.
Yeah, this is Life Force.
I'm so bummed that the clip button disappeared. Tried to get that e-brake back there. Just didn't happen.
Gradius is not the first Gradius game.
I got the what clip? What clip, Chris?
Some of the ignoring. Always my favorite.
Oh,
I clipped it and like it I had to reload my browser like 6 times to get the clip button to reappear. And then I was like, clip! And I went all the way back and it was just missed it.
I might have it here.
All right.
There's a very good chance. I'll clip it later for you.
Wait, Gradius was not the first Gradius?
No. Apparently, Scramble was the first Gradius.
Yeah.
Never even heard of that.
Watch. Look at video of Scramble. You'll see it instantly.
Was Scramble a Konami game?
Yes, it was.
1981.
Yeah, you'll 100% see it, and
Yep.
it's direct
Put
lineage.
it on over on the stream here.
What else? It also it was the subject of the if you're watching Free Play Arcade Jeopardy, it was the subject of the daily double close crop, because that cabinet art is risque.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that the most recent episode? Because I didn't get to catch that.
No, episode 3, but like
Okay.
the cabinet art specifically for Scramble, it basically inspired close crop, because the very first one was Jason Palmer taking a picture of this space woman and her microphone. But yeah, you can see it. It's just very, very much.
Yeah, I've got gameplay of it going on right now.
Radius.
Very rudimentary, but
weird.
definitely.
There's no canonical relationship, but in later Gradius games, it appears in flashbacks.
Oh, no canon, huh? Sounds like you gotta check the lore.
God, you missed the check the lore used on Josh? That's what you missed for missing out on Jeopardy on Monday? That was great, by the way.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, he
the free
dunked
play
on me.
e-break is after this show, so stay tuned.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what did I miss?
Rylander dunked on me because he used the check the lore against me and he impersonated my voice.
To a T. To a T.
I mean, in my defense, it was regarding Resident Evil 5 and 6, and nobody cares about 6 other than him. Apparently, he's a big fan.
How?
And yeah,
I don't think he dunked on you. He might have dunked on himself with that one.
it was regarding the name of the counterterrorism unit that was introduced in 5 that Chris works for. What is it called? At USSC or something like that.
Yeah. Wait,
But,
I'm pretty sure that was the Halo one.
I don't remember.
BSAA?
BSAA, yeah, the
Yeah.
bioterrorism, something, whatever, yeah. But yeah, I said, oh, this is a Resident Evil 6 question, so no one's going to get it right. And he was like, no. They debuted in 5, and then, like, it was the Piers guy, his partner in Resident Evil 6.
Oh, yeah.
So I took a shot at Resident Evil 6 in Piers, and he didn't take kindly to that, so he lore checked me and dunked on me. It was pretty hilarious. I thought it was hilarious. And it was a spot on impression.
You never know when Josh is listening.
No, I fully support what he did. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hear that.
Yes. Well, there haven't been nearly enough clips of e-breaks. Apparently, we had a perfect week of broadcasting. So.
Yeah, flawless.
Yes. So we do have 3 contenders, but always looking for more. If anyone has that clip button handy, not just Ian, you too can hit the clip button.
Yeah.
And clip
Even
out our
me?
train
I have to
wrecks.
understand. What should I do? There's a way I could. Man, I've lost all skills. I've lost my touch. Hold on.
I believe.
Needs more lens flare.
Can I have that I love free play sticker in my my presentation?
Yeah, I can toss it your way.
Yeah, like put that in the commentary thing. It looks like a perfect like little. This is on ABC.
It was one of the the picture. It was supposed to be like a sticker that you can put on your pictures if you did like a story or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those Facebook things, which I guess I should that out or something every once in a while still, that they can get the background and the be too much Eli Manning. But they can still get their machines, and that they can still get the frame for their profile pictures if people want to still do that or what. I think you can just look that up. Save the Arcade or free play.
So going back to Zone of the Ender's use of Vic Viper, I actually have a model based on that version of the Vic Viper, and it can change between ship mode and mech.
Ooh.
How much of a pain is it to change it?
A huge pain because it likes to fall apart.
Never touch it.
Nope, I leave it in ship mode all the time.
I don't blame you.
Back in like 2010, there was a really awesome Vic Viper statue that came out in Japan, and I've always wanted one. It's like a foot long, and it just looks amazing. It's got all kind of incredible detail, but I have never been able to find one.
Man, I've got to say it, but Vic Viper sounds like the name of a porn star.
It really does.
I've been thinking on it this whole time, and I've got to say it.
Hey, I found
Not to take away from him at all, but I
found somebody selling it on Amazon for $263.
Vic Viper sounds like a porn star. I'm gonna do some real research over here on the other computer. Let's see, Control Shift N. I'll be right back with my results.
I'll be in my bunk.
Here, you gotta buy another figure so you can have them in the regular mode too, so you don't have to keep shifting.
I don't know that they still sell that one.
How big is when you flip it over? How big is Vic Viper's dong? Because then that'll really tell you.
But here, let me share a picture.
Wait, Jerry, no.
Oh, I thought you said dog, not dong. Picture of his dog.
Yeah, dog.
Oh, we're having fun.
Just, it's not after dark yet, but it's been a long week for me, so.
Wow.
Yeah, you see that, Chris?
What's that?
I'm trying to save the image. It's not letting me.
Oh, sorry. No, I don't. I was too busy doing research over here on the
Vic Viper's dong.
my incognito window.
Let me just Google it on the screen I have on my stream here. No, I'm kidding.
You won't find anything. It was always like an old internet bit. Is you can just type in any noun and porn behind it. You'd find some matches.
Well, I think
Vic Viper seems to have stumped you.
Well, I might have to become him.
There you go, right there in the middle of the screen. Vic Viper and his dong.
Oh wow, I was right.
Do I want to see this?
Nope, that's not a leg.
Oh, yeah,
that is the dong.
Packing heat.
That's where the pilot sits, right? It's the cockpit.
Heyo.
Is it not? I think that's where they.
He sits in that little gold piece that was up top.
The cod piece.
Cockpit. All right, we're okay. It's Mike.
Yeah, it was a Kotobukiya model.
Yeah, they usually make the anime girl ones.
I can't remember if that was. I think I have some of those that are Mega Man models too, and the plastic's not great.
I don't think they're as pricey as usually other statues.
No, they're definitely way cheaper. And the models that they use to show it off have definitely been repainted.
Tricky business. The only Mega Man X ones I have are Figma stuff, so they're pretty good quality.
Some Figma figures. High School Girl, I'm sure there's got to be 1, 3.
The talking about the Nendroids?
Oh yeah, Nendroids. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not. Well, what am I thinking of? That's not Figma. What has Figma done? I'm getting them mixed.
The Figma usually does a lot of posable figures.
Yeah, I've got
Like
a bunch
high
of the Mega
posables.
Man X Figmas. I've got X in his armor.
Nice.
I've got 0, 1, and 0, 2.
So the Black
And
Zero.
Vile. No, not Black Zero. 0 with the round shoulders and 0 with the square
Gotcha.
shoulders.
Yeah, I've got Black
I
Zero.
didn't get Black Zero.
I've got Black Zero, Vile, and then the Comic Con X, where he's got like the shining armor.
I wanted that one so bad.
Yeah, I got that one as a gift a while ago. It's pretty dope. I've got the Sigma one too, but I don't think that's Figma, right?
The Sigma one I have is just a big statue.
Yeah, that's the one I've always. He's got his arm raised, right,
Yeah,
with the cape
yeah.
kind of flowing. Yeah, that's the one I've got too. That's not Figma though, is it?
No, it's not.
Sigma by Figma.
I've also got the
His brother.
Figma version of Samus.
Ooh.
Nice.
That's a really good one.
The only other Figma I've got is Joker from Persona. He's got a standable or a little stand with him, so he can do acrobatics. You know, look all cool and fancy.
Yeah, I need to get a new soul stand for my Samus because it broke.
Stand.
Soul stands. Those are the clear stands.
Hmm.
Uh,
My cat's just
Oh, that
attacking my
sounds
foot.
awesome.
I don't know if you can hear it, but
I can relate.
yeah. What is this song?
Scramble spirits.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this.
oh, okay. I threw this down because I was looking up just shmups like in general. This one was like an old one, and I saw it was cutesy looking.
I like the soundtrack.
I don't know what this is played on.
Something Sega.
More legendary wings. Oh yeah, how'd Third Strike go last night, Chris? Cool.
He's that tired.
He's
How it
still
went.
doing his Big Viper research. Give him
Give him a minute.
Sorry, I was
Yeah, this
trading
might be
microphones
so-
walking around the green screen. It's all invisible shirt day. At Boat Guy's request.
Yeah, you need it needs to just be the torso gone entirely.
Well,
Floating
that is
head
what we're going
Chris.
to get today.
Yes.
I can't wait. That's gonna be awesome.
Oh, you missed it earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, I got Spring Series 3 shirt on, which means all you see is like 3rd annual Spring Series in white lettering, and everything else is just right through me, like Mike on
That's
screen
awesome.
here. Kind of the inverse of Mike on screen here. You just see right through me.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with the mics quite yet. Something will happen.
Before the end of this, we're gonna have like our recreation of the battle scene from Two Towers, and it's just all Mikes storming the castle. Over 400,000 individual Mike B's were made in the production of this.
Too many clones of Mike B.
They all arrived
Honestly,
45
not
minutes
enough.
late.
Battle's already over, dude. You're way too late.
Wait.
I want to see his reaction to the Eli Manning Club Mike B. Flyer.
Wow, react, I'm sure.
Yeah, usually he's around watching these, so it's gonna be interesting when he gets surprised.
The stupid, just warped, like, dude, that's perfect. Like, the lens flare was already great.
To be honest, that's the best one. The subtle big head mode.
I don't know what
It
you're
looks
talking
like
about. Looks perfect.
that. It looks like a little kid almost.
Oh.
Like it makes.
Mom said it was my turn to play Street Fighter.
Where's my clip button? Ah, I'm on the other side of the wall.
I still want to clip Penelope going, "Why is your neck so thick?"
I mean, all right, you guys stall. I'm gonna go find that. That was in Might Be News, wasn't it? I'll be back.
Yeah, that was.
Back to the other side of the green screen.
Uh-oh, we got more Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer. Surf lore.
Surf
All right,
Lord.
fellas. Well, it's getting to be about that time, so
Yeah, it is.
I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to get back to it.
If anything, I might just finish this offline. But we have, version 1 somewhere.
Yeah,
Oh, you
version
got the
one's
important one
great.
out of the way. It's fine.
Yeah.
This is just the backup one.
Mm-hmm.
It started out as wanting to make a nice promotion to him, and look what it turned into.
Right.
So,
That's how it always starts.
Josh, you said you're not sure if you'll be able to make it Friday?
Yeah, I can't commit to anything, but y'all go ahead.
We're gonna
I'll be there in
try and do it around like 5, between like 5 and 6, I assume. Or are the rest of y'all good with
Yeah, it should work.
Yeah. Basically, when Chris
it's
takes
5?
off,
Because 5's when I'm off of work, so
Yeah,
that's
6 is when I'm off, so if I do have the time, I'll hop in there.
So you want to maybe start setting up or see where we're at, maybe around like 5:30 or 6.
Yeah. We'll wait and see if Josh can hop in with us before we really get anything going.
I'll be tuning in regardless. That shit's gonna be playing in every screen in my house, but I don't know if I'll be able to participate.
Thank you.
I think I know other people might be interested. After seeing Jerry do the Sonic one, I know Andy's like, man, I want to do a race. Sonic.
Oh, absolutely. I will race anybody, anytime, anywhere, and I will allow people to race each other anytime, anywhere.
Yeah, you guys should have hopped in on our Mega Man X run. You guys missed out
Yeah.
on that one.
I was there.
Well, yeah,
Well,
you
we
were there.
still, we still got to do the randomizer and possibly the
crowd control. That sounds
Yeah.
fun. Like, what kind of things can you make happen? in crowd
You
control
can take
Mega Man?
away life. You can restore life. I think there's an insta kill. I would
Oh
have to
my
go look through it
gosh.
again.
An
You
instant
can
kill.
set it. You can set it to where the bosses have leech life, where any damage they do to you is restored to them.
Oh god. I've been watching somebody play through what's that game? Earthbound. With like a weird randomizer where they roll and like you can't use offensive psi powers or you can't jump into a hospital or whatever.
Damn, that's rough.
It's most popular for Mario World and the Zelda randomizer, but yeah, there's a lot of. It supports a lot of.
There's a really fun one for Resident Evil 1 remake as well.
Oh no,
Including-
we're talking about the not specifically randomizers. We're talking about crowd control.
Oh, gotcha.
But no, I know what you're talking about as well. There's randomizers for all sorts of fun things. Crowd control specifically right now supports Toe Jam and Earl, Pokemon Red and Blue, Mario 64, Zelda 64, Mega Man 2, 3, and 4, Mario Brothers 2 and 3, the original Zelda, Zelda 2, Bedlam Ball, Dark Souls, Minecraft, Untitled Goose Game. Oh man, a Symphony of the
nice.
Night crowd randomizer or a crowd control. That'd be interesting.
Goose Game. I'm excited.
Yeah, so Symphony of the Night, Mega Man 8, Mega Man X, Sim City, Mario World, Yoshi's Island, Super Metroid, and Link to the
They did Link to the Past, one of the GDQs recently, I remember.
Yeah, it was there. We killed him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you were at that
Everybody-
one.
Everybody,
You guys are bastards,
ahead.
man.
Oh yeah. So people watching could pay bits to do things, but everyone in the crowd got an app that only we had access to vote on what would happen next.
Ah.
So we were able to vote to kill him a lot, while everybody else had to pay to kill him.
Andy, we're playing the Treasure Master one on an emulator. For other races, it just depends on what other hardware people have. Like, I know you guys run the Mega Man X thing on an SNES card and then the collection, right? On Xbox, I think.
Yeah. I would have been playing Treasure Master on an actual NES as well, but I recently sold my EverDrive to Mike because I was going to buy an EverDrive
Don't ever sell it to Mike. It just disappears inside the vault, never to be played again.
But the reason I want the Pro is the Pro added more RAM to the cart, so it can do bigger randomizer, or it can do bigger hacks, like Mega Man 4 plus infinity or minus infinity, whatever it's called. Or the Final Fantasy VII NESD mate.
That's cool.
Which I wish I could play that right now. I should actually play that while everybody's playing the remake. I should play the NES.
It's like, oh hey, I got the new game, guys. This is it, right?
Put the categories. The
I
remake.
picked up the new Final Fantasy VII, and I'm going to play it real quick. I hope you guys enjoy it.
Put it under that category. I'm pretty sure you can't do that, but
I should.
Oh, you could.
I need to talk with you, Ian, sometime. So I feel like one of my other calls in life was to be a voice actor.
Mark.
That would be Andy. Commissioner Andy. He's got the ends. Or actually, that Paul guy.
Like I don't even care that you always hear voice actors saying it doesn't play well and it's a lot of hours. It's like, I don't even care. It just sounds like so much. I'll read the same thing 100 times in different in inflections.
Hey, our cousin did a couple of bit lines in the original Full Metal Alchemist dub. He's
that's true.
he has
And
a
Desert
one
Punk.
line. Yeah, he has one line, and then another time he's screaming while he's dying. So
He's famous.
yeah,
Official credited
just-
voice actor.
Just have him recreate the Willem scream.
it was more like a. That's what he's famous for.
I've been able to do that every now and then. I have one thing where I actually talked, and it was in a anime called Ping Pong.
Neat.
Which is Ping Pong the Animation, which is also a great show if anyone.
Isn't that from a Chinese studio? It's not a Japanese animation, is it?
I think it's Japanese. It was
Is it?
It was.
It's the one
it
I'm
was
thinking
one
of.
the weird ones that was very. It was animated really weird.
Yeah, it must be the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, my couple of my friends are really into anime. They said it was actually really good.
It's a Japanese manga series illustrated by.
I still
Yes.
just
All I know
can't
is-
stop staring at Keaton in this picture. It's the ears over the top of the headphones that just make me lose it.
The
Do you need a
sunglasses
full
fit
one
really
for
well.
yourself? I will get you a full Keaton. Oh,
Yes.
did I? Here, this. I knew I'd saved it for a reason. Alright, full Keaton. No background.
Yeah, Annie, if you ever need some background characters, you give me a call, dude.
Keaton.
If you ever need some foreground characters, I'll give it a shot.
I'll reach out to my close personal friend Chris Sabat. We're
Oh,
best
yeah.
friends now.
It's true. All over that whole
Well-
Super GT debate.
So, not last year's.
It's okay. He was paid to.
he was technically paid for both.
No, but
now-
he's currently working on Super, so he's paid to have to say he liked that one more.
So not last year's Halloween, but the year prior when I went as Ox King.
Yes, that's great.
One of the guys that y'all had as a judge. As soon as I walked in the door, he came over to me and said, "Dude, you've got my vote for the contest. I used to work on Dragon Ball back in the '90s as the sound designer."
Oh, even before Funimation? Like what, it was Ocean?
No,
Damn.
it was probably while it was still Funimation, because I mean he's here in Texas, he's here in Dallas.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
What was his name?
Chris, do you remember that guy's name? He was one of your judges from the 2018 Halloween costume, and in Arlington.
And what did he do? Give me some more context, please.
He was the guy running the sound for the band that night.
Ooh. Not Richard?
Was Kerm Rivas?
I don't. I need to find his business card. He gave me his business card.
I think I was at Canada Cup for that, if I'm not mistaken. Allison was there. Mike B was there. don't think I was. Sadly.
All right, Chris, I sent you Keaton. You can put him in the stream, and the
Song
iHeart
slaps.
tag.
Awesome.
It does.
Thank you.
Arrow Fighters?
Sonic Wings. See,
Super Nintendo.
if
aren't they?
Afterburner was considered shoot 'em up, I would have totally put Afterburner stuff in here. 'Cause that thing is also very, very awesome.
Oh yeah, I've seen this game before.
Yeah, it was called Arrow Fighters in America.
Yeah.
In one of the later versions, there was a dolphin pilot.
That's it. Yep, that's it. That's what I remembered it from. Yeah, he actually like talks and everything.
Neat.
Wait, the dolphin pilot is in is it that weird game that they had in Fort Worth? Fort Worth has like a game that's like very Metal Slug, and one of the characters is a dolphin who's a pilot.
Oh yeah. What was that
Into
game?
the Hunt? Is that what we were talking about earlier?
Is it? It was like the weirdest
Dolphin
game
Blue?
there. I was like,
I think
Dolphin
that's.
Blue?
Yeah, I think that's what it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, that's at
The Arrow-
Free Play Fort Worth, or it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Arrow Fighters 3 had the dolphin pilot.
Apparently, he's playable in every game from Sonic Wings 2 and on.
The dolphin is named Whitey.
Naturally.
Apparently his English name is Spanky.
Okay. We go back to my
Yeah, you-
research on my incognito. No.
Spanky the dolphin.
Sure. I mean, those flippers could probably get some action. Big slaps.
Some nice ripples.
Yeah.
One of the Arrow Fighters games was on N64. I can't remember which one. Arrow Fighter Assault, maybe? Yeah, that's it.
I remember that game. Was it in the same
Yep,
series?
same series. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the 3D one.
Didn't that game suck? I remember that game sucked.
I don't remember.
It's got a dolphin pilot though, dude. Can't
Yeah,
suck that
true.
much.
I don't remember the dolphin pilot in that version though.
I remember the
just
ninja. I remember the ninja pilot in that one.
It's got all kinds of pilots.
Yeah, Whitey was an unlockable character in Arrow Fighter Assault, or Spanky, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, Spanky.
Or if it's like a mistranslation, or some guy was just like, nah, this guy looks more like a Spanky.
Probably.
Call
Like,
that this.
I don't know. Maybe they just didn't want to potentially mess around with the name Whitey in America. So
Yeah. That's
That feels like a Spanky.
looked pretty good. This one looks professional. So did the other one, but this one especially.
Yeah,
This one's
not
a
as
little bit more
professional as the other one.
I'll tell you which one he hangs up in the Beltran's Mom arcade next time I'm there.
When you get an
hopefully
exclusive
the
invite.
first one.
Occasionally.
Maybe one day I'll get one.
It's tough, man. Took me a while.
Beltran's always just breadcrumbing me.
Me and Native have figured out to when he invites you out to lunch, you show up 2 hours late to start.
Right.
Like, you don't even consider until 2 hours later.
Yeah, you just
If somebody-
automatically
if-
tack on.
If you're the person that invites somebody, you're not allowed to be late. Like, that's not.
Yeah, no, he's always got some Oak Cliff or Deep Ellum restaurant that is just the greatest, I'm sure. It's open only from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. He wants to meet you there at 12:15.
Check the lore, alright?
You arrive promptly at 2:15, right before they close, and then message him, and he's like, yeah, I'm almost there.
Yeah, that's a new segment is Trash Talk Mike Beltran for a couple hours.
Well,
I'm down for
speaking
that.
of-
now that you
It's
mention it,
everything.
that is actually what fills this time slot at noon every single day, except for this one.
Hello.
Oh, it's Mike Beltran. Hey, man.
Whoa,
Hey.
hey.
Oh,
We're just
Whoa.
working on your ad revenue.
Ad revenue.
Mhm.
What? So
Is this okay?
Now's here
What am
too.
I asking?
I've had a
I like it. Looks like an NES cover.
so I am I've been working today and
Mhm.
I've got accomplished with a lot of tasks. I was like, let me see what's going on and with my music. I look to my left and I see me.
Well, at least
to
you're not
your right,
staring
we
at me
see
through a
you.
window this time.
I'd much rather be doing it. Oh, look at that. A black and white. Oh, that looks like a studio portrait of me. Black and white right there. I like that.
Have you seen the the other promo that Ian made you?
There's promos.
Mhm.
Yeah, he made
Oh.
you this one you see here, and then he's got another really good one.
Are you watching the stream right now, Mike?
I'm looking at the stream. The shirt is
I got you.
looks like it's been altered a little bit to reflect a different color than
Mm.
what's actually on the shirt.
Yeah, he needs it to be only New York Giants colors only. You need to not misrepresent him.
That's all right. We've got you.
Official
Yeah.
one. That's the official one, and this is
There
like
you go.
No,
Sorry.
Wait.
the spelling of
back.
Saturday.
Let me see that again. Pull that up. Pull
Wait,
that
wait.
up.
It's missing.
Oh man, look at that.
Saturday.
Why?
Hold on. Shoot. Damn it. Hold on.
It's missing a piece of it, right?
I don't know what's. I don't know if you can make that any
hold
better.
on.
That's pretty
Oh,
accurate.
I can make it better.
After
No, it's definitely. Yeah, don't worry.
There we go. Made it better.
that's
That's the one.
oh my.
There we go.
Why do I look like Big Head mode on NBA Jam?
I don't know what you're talking about, man. That's
Yeah, what are you talking
that's
about?
just the way it is.
Looks pretty average to me.
Yeah.
It's implying I have a big head.
No, just a really thick neck.
Stay tuned for the e-break. I'm just saying.
Thick
Guys,
neck, huh?
all three Mike B posters ready to go.
I do like the one on the right, just because that is pretty accurate on how I look whenever I'm done DJing.
So we have the afterwards and the beforehand.
Yeah, the before it, man. The one on the left looks like a
It's clean.
that needs to be like a billboard or like a TV still or something. You know, like
Oh, you,
You know,
full
like-
screen the screen there.
kind of like how like on TV. You see the little advertisement on the side. And coming up next is Hill Street Blues, and you see the picture of it. Right there.
Street Blues?
Timely reference.
How old are we?
I don't know,
This is
but
Jim
all y'all got
Pachi
it.
Beltran. He's his own
All
grandfather.
y'all got it.
That one dated me. I didn't get that. I have no idea.
Oh, that's
Dennis
what we watch
Brown.
before bedtime.
Okay. All right.
Puts-
Yeah.
It puts you to sleep.
Loaded down with Mike B. Metamucil ads.
Makes it easier.
Gotta stay regular.
Good lord.
Thank goodness VGM Wednesday had officially ended, so we're
Yeah, I think it's over. At this point.
Yeah. May not come back. Thanks for joining us and everything you did.
our last episode of VGM
Canceled
Wednesday.
forever.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
this
I
It
wouldn't have
almost
it
looks
any
like
other way.
the
one.
one on the left almost looks like Saturday Night Live.
Looks like an NES cover.
Oh yeah, it looks like that too. Man, speaking of NES, so like earlier on my break,
What'd you buy this
like,
time?
no, I didn't buy anything.
Well, why the hell not?
I don't know. I didn't- But man, I'm moving. Uh-oh, what's going on here? Oh,
All
okay.
the ladies messaging you
No,
again.
no. Man,
Mike B, I just saw your Club Mike B poster.
yeah.
I need to
No,
text
no,
you
that's
quick.
yeah, no, that's not it. So man, all right. So I'm trying to set up the other room for like my, retro gaming area, inspired by Jerry Holt, and man, I
What did I
forgot.
do?
You gave me some inspiration. You have your little gaming area, right? So I'm trying to
Uh-huh.
set me one up too, and man, I was going through some old NES carts, and man, and you'll like this. I forgot I had it, but I have I have a copy of a Tenjin Tetris. I was like, oh man, I forgot I had this. This is cool.
Tenjin Tetris.
Yeah, I was like, ooh yeah. It was, because I was looking at the Tenjin cartridges I have. One of them is Pac-Mania. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna play that again sometime.
Course.
And I look after it, it's oh, hell yeah, Tetris. Yeah, man. I got excited. But another thing I saw earlier, right when I hit join on the just now, I was looking in the chat, and I don't know who said it earlier, but I interpret it as as somebody was talking about Sonic, right? And Sonic something Blast.
Oh
I-
yeah,
I-
3D
Sonic
Blast.
3D Blast.
yeah. Well,
Sonic
unfortunately,
Bomb
Game with
Blast.
music.
well, yeah. So
Uh-huh.
I just got through eating some nice chicken strips,
And
and
Sounds-
I was like, man, I really could use a dessert. Then I look at the chat and I see that, and I'm like, I really could use an Oreo Sonic Blast. So whoever said
Better than
Sonic
that.
Blast, so thank you for giving me more inspiration to go to my local Sonic and pick up a Oreo Sonic Blast later.
How much did they
Supporting
pay
local
you
business.
to? How much did they pay you to promote a Oreo Blast like that?
Well,
quite a bit. 'Cause
Yeah,
I'm
we're
trying
gonna
to
have to start charging fees here on VGM Wednesday.
Yeah, come on, man.
For this kind of play.
Well, we're actually lucky that Beltran's not charging us fees.
That's true.
We'll call it a wash.
I mean, really, they should be paying Sonic Matt, really, not me.
see, now he's trying to get the kids in on it too.
Can't just exploit young labor like that, Beltran. There are laws against that.
I don't know, just so if Sonic Matt's listening, once I get you that sponsorship from Sonic.
Oh, he wants a
Your
cut
old
too.
buddy.
Now it's Agent Mike B.
Yeah, look at that.
Get your old buddy Mike B Oreo Sonic
You
Blast.
be careful. Be careful with this man. This is the same thing that got who was it got tossed out for dealing with Deion Sanders. He had to go to the NFL early. Same thing. Same thing right here.
Dion.
Yes.
Oh, speaking of Dion, there, man, God, why is everything all coming together right now? So earlier in the week, I was chatting with the Big Mike, right? Some of you have met Big Mike, and one of my good friends, and
That's the one that introduced you to your current girlfriend and the last two as well, right?
no, he didn't introduce me to any of my girlfriends, but he was asking me, questions about because he knew, but he was asking me questions about the trips we've taken and things like that for Street Fighter and stuff. And I told him one time that one time we like I don't know rented like an SUV and got hotel rooms, all that stuff, right? And I don't know why, but he turned it into he sent me a picture of the '89 draft of Dion on the phone with gold chains around his neck and stuff like that, and he says that's me. I'm like, dude.
You take your shirt off, you'd look just like him.
I think I have
Man,
that
I'm
football
telling you.
card here somewhere.
I was like, man, there was a time though. There was a time when the shirts were fitting a little better than they are now.
There's
There
no
was a
video
time.
proof
How
of
did-
this.
Wait, hang
Oh,
on.
there-
I thought that was like peak human performance, Beltran. I'm pretty sure that's what the ideal body looks like. You're telling me it's not? You
I
can
saw-
get stronger?
I found a picture of me. Well, this is gonna sound damn it! I found a
Keep it clean,
picture of
boys.
me from I know. Found a picture of me that my buddy sent me a long time ago, and it's four of us walking. We were in San Antonio for the fiesta, and we're walking, and somebody took a picture of us from the back, and like you see me and
Your
like,
assless chaps.
yeah, you know.
Oh yeah, that's Beltran for sure.
No. There's-
Some evidence.
This is what the clip button is made for, people. I'm on the other side of the green screen.
Assless chest. Oh my god. Oh, that's so awesome.
All right, time to add stuff.
Man,
Yeah.
that might be Halloween this year. I don't know. We gotta work that in somehow.
Oh, you're gonna wear it in public this time?
I don't know. Well, you've seen me in them, so it's fine. It's fine. Might as well, not, share with the rest of the class.
Oh man. Share with the rest of the class.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, I
Sorry,
don't know what I was.
please
Why wait
continue.
for Halloween?
I don't even know why I was saying that. Oh yeah. Yeah, man. I saw that picture. I was like, man, I really gotta try to get back in the gym and try to get that old body back. Cause my God, like I look like a different person. Like, man, there's no way that's me.
Do you have that picture?
Yeah,
young Beltran
I can.
in his assless chaps. So
Yeah.
there he is on stream. Dang, Beltran, you're pretty tall. How'd you shoot?
Now that's the photoshopping right there.
That's
That's the Ian magic. He can make
There it
Beltran
is.
whatever height he needs to be.
It's a little pasty.
Where the sun don't shine.
Exactly.
That was when you first
Yeah,
started
sure.
wearing them, you know?
Yeah. Since then, I've done a little bit more,
A little tanning.
a little more squats to kind of, round it out a little bit better,
Oh man.
Wow,
Ian working overtime today.
look at that.
Just all these ideas and just kidding.
I'm done after this. The last VGMWednesday.
We're going out with a bang.
A banger.
And more
This is
ways
the last
than
one? What do you mean this is the last one?
No, we're probably
Yeah,
just getting
this is
canceled.
Probably canceled,
You
yeah.
ended
Oh,
it.
okay. Oh, because of that? Yeah.
Just it's really funny that VGM Wednesday just like toward the end of it just goes off the rails entirely. I don't know what it is about it, but it just slowly at the end of it just unwinds.
It's the caffeine running out.
I know what you're talking about. I've got another 3.5 gallons on the way.
Can you even have that on screen right now?
As long as it's not the front.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
dude, that's
Sagat is
artistic and
usually
tasteful.
allowed. It's fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, to be fair, Sagat is more naked than this guy.
that's true.
Yeah, but look how ripped he is, though. You'd rather see that than
Wait, which one? The
pasty.
guy on the left?
No, the guy on the right. That's, you'd rather look at that than...
Look at the look that Sagat is giving that guy.
He's got that one eye trained hard.
Yeah,
Right
he
there.
is.
What does he
I don't know.
see?
No, he's looking at him straight in the eye. He's not looking anywhere else
Which eye?
to wander,
Yeah, which eye are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Kind
Be careful, because you gaze into it, it can gaze back.
See, because that's
That
proper
smile too.
that's proper gym etiquette. You gotta, like, when you're in the gym in the men's locker room, you gotta look straight and usually at eye level with people.
I'm
Because
gonna
you don't want to look down usually.
I'm gonna like
Wow.
Usually.
palette edit a Sagat thing into just assless shorts. Even though he's always facing forward, I'll figure out a way.
No, when like he's knocked down, you could be able to see.
Or when he's doing his tiger uppercut, cheeks to the wind,
Jeez. Oh my God.
Oops, hold on. I got
flapping
this.
around like a windsock from how hard he's flying up into the air.
Oh my God.
Oh man. So what's up?
Well, I think
Anyway,
on that
VG
note-
Wednesday. Thanks for
Yeah, I
tuning
think
in.
on that note, I'm
My favorite show.
Now cancel.
Yeah.
Why is he
blushing.
blushing?
he's
What?
he's so entranced that he got his pupil back.
Man. Boy, that doesn't look like a Don. Jeez. Man.
Where's Chris Willow when we need him?
Oh man. Oh. Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I get those
That's the
tigers,
sound
please?
his weenie and his
Share
pants is
bits.
making right.
Please
Man,
do
that's-
that too, man.
That's next level if I take some X or something like that.
Put that guy's ass on Sagad's head. No, I'm kidding.
God. Jeez.
Wearing them
I
like a
don't
hat.
like this, man. I'm fine with my
Jeez.
manliness, but I can look at a
Oh
dude's
man.
Yeah. I hope,
You're not
man,
man
it is
enough unless you can look at a dude's ass.
there's gonna be somebody who's like just scrolling around on the talk shows and podcasts like subject, and they're gonna be like, "Ooh, free play arcade, let's check this out." They're gonna just see assless chaps.
Yeah. I mean, we went from Oreo Sonic Blast to this. I
Yeah.
mean, we were doing so good.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
I didn't say
You brought
assless.
up assless chaps.
No, that was me.
We can reload.
I just brought up my
That was me.
back.
Reload the video.
Yeah, it was definitely.
I mean, you were talking about your favorite pants. What else were we supposed to put on the stream?
Oh man, I was just talking about my favorite Sonic Blast, which was the Oreo Sonic Blast. That's what we were talking about.
The assless
Man.
chaps flavored Sonic Blast.
Yeah. Yeah. The whipped cream in the middle. It's great.
Alright, chocolate shake,
It's
anybody?
great. This is great.
Yeah,
Well,
on that note, it was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, this is awesome, man. Yeah.
I want to see this.
The yard.
Can't
I
wait
would say
for
this is quite after hours Jackbox. It could get way worse in here.
Oh, it could get
I-
way worse.
can't wait for next VGM Wednesdays, aka Assless Chaps talk again.
Oh man.
Well,
that's-
as soon as Beltray gets here.
You need to show up here then, because we'll have a special guest we can talk about assless chaps with. See how he likes it. No, no.
You know,
Is this why
maybe
we
you
don't see
can.
you with pants, Beltran, because all your pants are assless chaps.
Well, I mean, see, this pair I left at Josh's house, and like I wanted him to put them on for me one night, but the thing is that I didn't want him to put them on the traditional way. I wanted to put them on reverse, and then
The Texas Showdown way.
What?
and then
Story.
yeah.
Oh, Ian, you don't know the Texas Showdown story, eh?
Oh man, that's a good one. Somebody tell that.
I don't know. I guess we'd have to wait till
feel like
after dark. Maybe,
that's
maybe
if we
save
have
it for
another
Treasure.
VGM Wednesday.
yeah.
Yeah,
Or
I'll-
wait for the Treasure Master race, because that'll be kind of in the evening.
Yeah, I'm
It's one of
more
my
than happy
favorite
to tell
stories.
it. But yeah, not right now.
Not as good as the
See,
soap
like-
story?
Like
Oh,
I said,
dude, even better.
like I said, you always like in the men's locker room at a gym, always look up and straight.
Tell us the
That's the
cigar,
idea.
man.
You know that thing where if you don't want to look at somebody in the eyes, you look them in their forehead? Yeah, you might as well just look up that high in a gym locker room.
So how did you learn that piece of advice there, Mike?
Everyone starts somewhere.
Experience.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like when I started, well, you know, really weightlifting, like right after high school, I was, you know, at my gym, and man, I tell you what,
Old men don't care.
I tell you what,
On this earth
if-
too long.
if at the time, let's see, you know, at the time, this was, I don't know, you know, after high school, right? So at the time, you know, I get done working out, I'm feeling good, and you know, I go right into the locker room, getting ready to change and whatnot, and man, if I look that good at 70, and
Wait, what part of the
and if, you know, if at age 70, like, I don't mind.
Go on.
Like if I can just like walk out of the shower and even, I'm 70 at that point and I don't care, and if like I'm kind of leaning forward because of, you know, extra appendages,
gravity?
then man, I'm doing all right for myself, you know.
That's true. He
Doing
probably
all right.
doesn't care.
Well,
He's
Yeah.
done everything he needs to.
Yeah, I mean,
we're
you
all
know,
gonna have to check in on that. November 24th, 2022.
That's a
No.
couple years from now.
Yeah.
no, I'll be 44 a-holes, not 70, not 70. Yeah, man, I was
Hey,
like,
just
"Ah."
subtract one, close enough.
I was like, wow, I've seen. I was like, man, I've only seen that like in videos. To see one like that up close.
I've only seen that in videos.
Like, wow,
hey, real quick to change the subject.
uh-huh.
Hey, sir, you suffer
What
from
was
the
playing
cancer?
just now was Section Z, and that totally sounded like it could easily fit in like a Game Boy Mega Man.
Mega Man?
Yeah, it sounded like it.
Uh-oh, what is this? I don't know you.
Oh, that's Street Fighter.
Well, I know of it. I don't know that number.
I'm just kidding. That's my burner phone. We have business to discuss after that story.
Burner phone, yeah.
He wants to make the Mike B sawed in a gym locker room.
Yeah.
Zod. Sounds like General Zod. Maybe there's a connection there. Maybe I can work that into a bit. General Zod and Sod.
Hey, Beltran, can you make this picture that Ian's making your Facebook cover photo?
If he doesn't, I know who owns the DJ Terminator Mike B page.
Yeah, no. No.
Oh God, hold on. So
No,
does it
I'm
mean I
not
just
making
ate
that
this?
I'm not
Why
making
not?
that like. No. No, I'm not doing that. And neither is that going on the DJ page either. I'm trying to get business, not
It's
drive it
like
away.
made for it.
I wish I knew how to quit you, Beltran.
Looks like Sagat's trying to get the business.
Oh, God.
Aren't you glad
Jeez.
you chimed in, Mike?
Man, I don't know. I was everything. Man, I was working good today, and stuff was happening, and I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm productive." And did yard work yesterday, and I was like, "Yeah, man, things are happening."
Lego in the chat is predicting this will bring you a certain type of business.
God,
Hey, strip clubs have DJs too, Mike.
That's
they
true.
do,
And
They
you
do.
could perform
And
a couple of different ways.
So,
double duty. There is.
I received. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh no, go ahead. I thought.
I was gonna say
Sorry.
I received a text from one famous local DJ telling me
You did?
about doing something on Saturday.
Oh, who texted you?
I think his name was Michael Beltran.
Oh, that. Oh, okay.
Worst
Um,
at
I just got a
promoting his
picture
own
message.
shows ever.
what does that say? Did not. Oh my God.
You have the floor, Mike. Are you DJing? Let's promote this
When
thing.
this Saturday? This Saturday night?
Yeah.
No, I was told something else may happen Saturday. before
Oh.
the
Oh,
DJ.
during the day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Get some
Go on.
UN
What's
Squadron
happening?
going.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
man.
okay.
Yeah. Get some UN Squadron going.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's Squadron.
Yeah.
I figure Noun might want to know about that ahead of time so he can. see
Yeah,
if he's
exactly. Yeah.
available.
Of course. Yeah, man. And then for Saturday night too, man, I can get the what do you call it? The things up and the things.
Up.
And I can get the things up and running.
Stuff.
All the things. Yeah,
Ian,
stuff.
I really like how you kept the saddle in the picture.
I mean, what else are you gonna ride him with?
Oh my god.
Boy. Man, I got.
Take me home.
I can't tell you those stories.
Chris, you need to like take control right now. It's just spiraling out of
You have control.
Kick us off, quick.
If only it
Get
wasn't
rid of us.
spiraling into Mount Beltran.
Yeah.
I
Making
just
an
have my
exception
camera
for
out here
Beltran.
recording it all for posterity. It's gonna be like that sequence at the beginning of Temple of Doom with the plane. Are you done there, Ian?
One more.
One more. Okay. I mean, you guys have officially ended VGM Wednesday, so if Jeremy, if you gotta go, you gotta go. Like
Yeah.
If
I kind of
everyone
do
is
too,
free,
but I just can't. I can't leave right now.
I understand.
It's like a train wreck. I can't take my eyes off.
Right. Yeah. I can't. hit this this
power of VGM
commentary
Wednesday, man.
button either.
Oh, what's going on here? This looks real technical. What's going on there? Let's see.
He's just
Letter-
making you look as good as possible.
Oh, look at that! There's even a shadow, a red shadow. Now
Look at that.
that's how you match right there. That's coordination right there.
Eli would be
Yeah.
proud.
We got a disclaimer there for you that you didn't murder a small child. So
Yeah.
you can use this in legal battles as well.
Like the,
Yeah.
Yeah, you really got to get ahead of the accusations.
Do you have our drops, Ian? I know you have your own drops now.
Oh man.
Oh,
I've been using some soundboard like website or whatever.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
what's that?
The drops are on the Google Drive somewhere.
What's
would-
that behind it there? It says Knights. What is that? Is that the other one? What is that?
Nice.
Yeah. Or it was behind it.
Oh, this. I was gonna put the image here, but you know what? It made more sense with the.
Oh, it's that. Oh, okay.
I did not
promo for
expect
you,
to
man.
see that again. That's
Oh man.
You go, guys. Welcome
Which
to
one do
my
you like
G
more,
show.
Ultron?
I like the one on the left.
Okay, well you using the one on the right then. That's
No, we need all of them. All of them on repeater. Yeah, can we just like
God.
slideshow and we'll
Yeah.
put
The
that
best
as
part, there's 19 people watching, and I can do this.
put a tiger shot over that guy's butt. To make it censored.
Jeez. My goodness.
19
Extreme
people.
close up.
feel like
Yeah. Oh my god.
That's all
Oh
the
man.
people.
Oh boy.
yeah, we need a slideshow of all these, and next time Mike B News happens, instead of just the Mike staring into Jay Swaggins' eyes, it'll just be this on
Yeah.
slideshow.
Or
Yeah.
you could just
We can
you
say
know,
this is
for the
the end of VGM Wednesday.
Dude, it's been that way for like an hour.
Is it the
I guess that's the
VGM?
butt of the joke.
VGM.
Oh now it just died. Now it just died. You took it too far.
Yeah, you really reached the bottom there, John.
Yeah. Oh god. Oh.
Yeah,
way to
alright.
make it
For every
butt
fun.
cheeks and stuff.
And
All right,
Just
well,
learn to
thanks-
turn
thanks.
the other.
Chris, please take it away.
Thanks for
please.
joining us, guys. We'll hit the button.
yeah, thanks for
Hey,
joining us. Yeah,
guys.
that's the end.
Do you think that's where the great